Sleepy town settling for the night, where the Owens women live their lives. And it's about time that the back porch light comes on at that house down the street, at that house on Magnolia Street.
Hey, witch, hey.
Hey, Kumadana!
Kumadana!
Kumadana! How are you doing? Besides the burble bellies. Your poor tummy.
No, it's all right. I'm gonna empty these this gas tank pretty soon.
Literally.
How was your week?
Everything's good. This weekend was really chilled. I did a lot of commission work, artwork, editing.
right.
And I was like, I don't know who I was talking to. I was like, am I in a dream? Like, I'm doing all the things that I fucking love. And like, I'm doing the lucky girl syndrome thing. I'm like, it just works out for me. And I'm like, #blessed. I'm just getting to do all the things that I love. Practical
Do you
magic,
feel like
art,
that outlook,
editing, all that good shit.
Oh yeah, the lucky girl outlook, has that helped with your sads?
Yes. Yeah, I guess. I'm just trying to find that silver lining in the silver of the winter, I guess. It's just
Winter sucks. Everything's
hard.
gray. Everything's cold. Nothing is growing outside. It's just like so barren, and it feels like, you know, in Never Ending Story when he's like walking through the sadness, or that like barren like marshland.
Oh, yeah.
Where Artax bites the dust.
Dude, that was the first movie that I saw like boobies in. Because you remember
There's
there's like the
boobies in
two sentinels. They're like the lionesses, the
Oh.
gates that shoot the lasers. And he's like,
Uh-huh.
you must be pure of heart.
Yeah.
Got the boobies hanging out.
But they're statue boobies. They're not even real boobies. Christina's like, I'll take what I can get.
I don't make the rules.
That's funny.
That
yeah,
movie was so fucking good. Like, it immerses you, and like as a kid you're like, wow, the power of books.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. Yeah, I still love, that's still one of my favorite movies to this day.
The never ending
Love it.
story.
Freaking theme song.
That was a bop.
It's just amazing all around. I love how they what's the word, reprised it in Stranger Things.
Oh my god, it had such a
Remember?
comeback. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Now the newer
Wow.
generation, they know the song now, but they have no idea what the fuck it's from.
I know. That, like, what was it, like wolf? Was it a wolf? Like the bad guy with the
Yeah.
crazy eyes and the
Yeah,
mouth and
yeah.
stuff. So fucking scary as a kid. And every now and then, like when Diggity is like sitting a certain way, I'm like, ooh, you got the never ending story, like wolf face.
The nothing
It's
face.
scary.
Isn't it?
The
'Cause
nothing. That's
Isn't
what
the
it was
wolf like the
called.
symbol of the nothing? Or was the actual wolf the
Yes.
nothing?
I think he was the nothing.
Okay. It's so funny. Whenever like it's gonna storm outside and the sky gets like all like dark and ominous and like the clouds get really heavy and it's really freaking scary, I always call it the nothing. I'm like, oh my god, it's the nothing.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's funny that you met that movie, that you mentioned that, because wasn't there a turtle with like
Yep.
growth and all that stuff on his back? And he talked real
Yeah.
slow, and he had a cold, and he
Uh-huh.
would sneeze. It reminded me of the Turtle Island story that we kind of talked about in the last episode, or Turtle Island, Big
Yeah,
Turtle.
yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah, everything's connected.
it's all connected, bro.
We find a way to connect everything. So.
I'm interested to see what fucking card we pulled today. Because this is
Oh,
coming out right before Valentine's Day for those who celebrate. So we're going to be talking
Right.
about love.
Happy Valentine's Day, y'all.
Marriage. Happy V-Day.
Marriage. Another great movie.
Oh, so good.
Dude, there was a lot of notes for magic lessons. I feel like that, out of all of the practical magic books, had the most like love stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like the very base origins of like Maria's whole backstory and like how she came up in the world as a witch, like seeing Hannah kind of remedy like these random women's who come to her door banging in the middle of the night for love spells and, you know, lotions, potions, all that good stuff. Like Maria saw that growing up, and like that's what she took with her entire life.
That's
So
where all the problems started. So
Yeah,
no
yeah,
wonder it has the
exactly.
most mentions.
Yeah. So we're gonna get down to that in a second. There's a lot.
Yeah, I met Marco G this morning. I was like, I think I overdid it. And then you still had more to add with the magic lessons.
It's funny though, because like you you go crazy with like actual research, like articles and origins and history. And I'm always like, what's in the book? Book.
I'm glad though, because it's a good balance. Because I always forget. I'm like, wait, why are we talking? Oh yeah, that's why we're talking about this. I get too clinical about it, but holy fuck, there were some really good sources. The one that it was like our big one. It's like 300 pages long, girl. I was not gonna, and it's like organized really well. I pulled what I could out of there, but we'll link it because it's a lot. It's a lot.
All right.
But
you sent that to me. I just like glanced at it. And I was like, wow, this is intimidating. And I just closed it. I'll let Christina
I'm
handle
my head
this.
out. Yeah, well, I'm Christina.
I'm Justina.
And welcome to Magnolia Street.
Yeah, this is your one and only source for all things practical. #PracMag.
Happy Valentine's Day to those who celebrate, and happy Galentine's Day to all our besties out there. And happy Galentine's Day to you, my friend.
Do you celebrate Galentine's?
I don't have any friends here.
Well, I'm your friend.
It's just you. It's you and Caitlin and my mom.
Yeah, I also don't really have many in real life friends that I actually hang out with anymore. Like I have friends from like, I'm still in the same town I grew up in. So I have childhood friends in the same town. Ask me how often I see these people.
I know. Life just happens, man.
I don't see them. So a couple years ago, or was it last year, I actually held a Galentine's virtual party with all of my Magical Moon Collective girls.
Nice.
And yeah, we did some games. We did some raffles. My friend sells candles, so we did a little candle demonstration.
That's really sweet.
I physically mailed all of them a little like goodie bag thank you package for participating. Like I think I put like love tea bags in there and like little rose quartz hearts that I bought.
You're so good at gift giving.
I love gift giving. It's probably one of my favorite things.
You're really good at putting a box and a package together.
It's so much fun. It's just like being Santa Claus.
Oh, or La Befana.
Or La Befana.
Donna Befana.
I'm Donna Befana, gonna gift
just
you.
handing out cigarettes. Dude, I was listening back to, I think it's the Louis L'Amour episode where we're like talking about like Darlene and her origin and whatever, and every time you're like, she's just so stressed that she's got to drive her truck. And it kills me every time you say stressed. Just like white knuckling it across country,
clenching that wheel. Do you remember the Pee Wee Herman, Large Marge? That's who I was like picturing.
Okay.
Large Marge.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
She's just so stressed.
The sound of a truck falling off the Empire State Building. It's one of my favorite movies. Anyway.
I have no breath today.
Well, you just did like a really intense workout. Go you.
And I just laughed. I'm one of those people who doesn't, I have like a no laugh. Like I'm just like open mouth shaking a lot, and it turns into sweating. So I wish it came across on this show, because I listen to podcasts where people have the best laughter, and I'm like, man, but you can't force it. You know what I mean?
I've noticed in the past like couple episodes, I'm always like, Christina's dying on the other end, ladies and gentlemen. That's why it's so quiet right now. She's actually dead on the floor because she's laughing so hard.
Thank you.
But I feel like I have kind of an obnoxious laugh.
I don't think so at all. But
you said it was contagious.
It's very contagious.
So
yes, ma'am. So what are we getting into, man?
We're talking about love potions and spells today.
Oh, right. And as we mentioned,
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, for Valentine's Day. All the love. We're going to talk a little history and magic and lore and through all different cultures, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this kind of caveat or like disclaimer goes along with any sort of love magic. Like you don't want to, who said this? You don't want to start a relationship with a kidnapping, basically, is what a love spell is. It's going against somebody's will. So it's important to note that the love spell in practical magic is a work of fiction, and it's not based on any real magical practices. It is not possible to use magic or spells to influence somebody else's feelings or behavior. Don't attempt to do so. It's unethical and potentially harmful. It's always important to respect the free will and autonomy of others, and to recognize that it is not within our power to control and manipulate the feelings or actions of others.
100%.
So, if you're looking for love in your life, there are other ways to do so, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're
Your hesitation, I was like,
sorry. I was trying to form my thought for the next sentence. I was thinking ahead. I was going to say that later on we're going to talk a little bit about some of the repercussions we've seen in pop culture, backfired love spells, right? Love spells that backfire. So anyway,
which is like a major trope, not just like a love
Yeah.
spell in pop culture, but like it normally doesn't turn out very well ever.
Oh,
except
yeah.
for practical magic.
But did it though? But did it?
You mean
Like,
with
the
Gary?
odds- Well, no, because there were a couple different love spells in practical magic, which we're
I
going to
was
get
thinking
into.
about the Amasvidita spell.
Well, I was thinking of the one that the aunts did for
Yeah,
Sally
that
and
blew up.
Michael. That one
That was
pretty much
bad.
blew up. That one just was a dumpster fire.
It was, yeah.
So, you know why I think Sally and Gary's kind of worked out until Book of
Until it
Magic,
didn't.
until
Yeah.
Book of Magic, which we won't get into right now. But I think it worked out in the movie so well because it came from a pure place. It was something they did as children.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think maybe that's why it wasn't like, because Sally wasn't like, she didn't really pick a specific person. She just kind of threw out things that she wanted out into the air, literally. She threw
Right.
pearls to the moon. And it came to fruition for her. But I don't know, like, did you ever hear of that study? What is it, Schrodinger's cat or something like that? Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
exist until it does, or something like that. Like, do you think like he didn't actually exist until she put that spell out there and then he kind of just like materialized? I don't
think
know.
so.
I don't fucking know.
I
But
do
it's
think
like-
that's such a sweet scene when he is
Yeah.
backwards on the horse and you see the petals fall around him, and
Yeah.
they almost
But-
make a shape of a star like around the horse. Almost. Maybe
Did
I'm
it?
making that up.
All right,
But
I'm gonna have to look
I-
at that scene again.
I think that has a lot to do with it. Like law of attraction. You want somebody to hold that space for you, to comfort you,
Yeah.
to love you, to be your person, but you're
Yeah.
not directing it at fucking Brad in accounting. You know, it's just you ask the universe and universe will provide, right?
Yes. I don't think it needs to be like, you can't really pinpoint a specific person and be like, I want this person,
Right.
nobody else,
Right.
because we've all made that mistake as teenagers, have we not?
Absolutely. Oh my God. This is definitely a cringe episode just to relive mentally all the stuff you've done or
100%
should not have done.
Oh yeah, I've done some shit I'm not proud
I can't wait to
of.
hear about it. You're going to tell us about it later?
I had like maybe one love spell experience that I can really remember that I was like, ooh, why'd I do that?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
It wasn't like bad or anything. It was just like, you're a teenager, you're young, you're in love or lust or whatever the fuck it is, and you just you blindly want things and you act selfishly.
Lust is usually like the first emotion. You're like, you think you love that person, but no, you just
you're
want
attracted to
that
them.
person. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So before we get into all that, let's talk about the origins of the love potion.
Okay.
So love potions. Am I going to do this like Donna? Like Donna?
Oh God.
No. I won't do it.
That's the anti-aphrodisiac.
Yeah. It's the anti. All right. So love potions, also known as aphrodisiacs, are substances that are believed to increase sexual desires or attractiveness. The concept of love potions has been around for centuries, with references to such substances appearing in literature and folklore from various cultures around the world. One of the earliest recorded examples of a love potion comes from the ancient Egyptian mythology, where it is said that the god Osiris made a potion from the saliva of a crocodile and the urine of a lioness that he used to win over the heart of Isis, the goddess of fertility and love. In Greek mythology, the god Dionysus is often depicted as using love potions to win over the affections of mortal women.
Sly dog.
Yeah, because I mean, he was a god, right? So immortal. So he's basically trying
Not
to control.
cool.
Yeah.
Not cool Dionysus. Well,
Not
let's
at
loop
all.
Zeus in there also. Not cool Zeus, because he got around.
All those gods, man, they were all incestuous. They were all up in each other. Blech.
Blech.
So in more recent times, love potions have often been associated with folklore and superstition and are often depicted in literature and film as being magical or mysterious substances that can cause people to fall in love or become more attractive to others. However, it is important to note that there is no specific evidence to support the claim that love potions or aphrodisiacs can have any real effect on human behavior or attraction. A famous example, most people have heard a song called Love Potion Number 9, which was written by Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller, that was first recorded by the Clovers in 1959. The song tells the story of a person who is desperate for love and turns to a gypsy for help, who gives them a potion that is supposed to make them irresistible to the opposite sex. However, the protagonist of the song ends up falling in love with the gypsy instead. I never knew that. I never really listened to the lyrics of that song.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a great song.
Wait, with Sandra Bullock?
No. This came way before.
No, but I mean, like, they made a movie called Love Potion Number 9 with Sandra Bullock, right?
Right. I don't think it's the same premise.
No?
I don't
No,
think
I mean, not
so.
about like the gypsy or whatever, but like there is a movie called that.
Yeah, we talk about it a little later on.
Oh, it's the Sandra Bullock movie?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
I don't look at the notes all the time because I want to be surprised.
I do too. And then I get surprised with fucking Latin.
So we'll add that song to the Spotify playlist, guys. And you'll probably definitely hear that one on our next WMS episode.
Awesome.
We're going to start off now by chatting a bit about the love spells from the Practical Magic movie. So the first one that I can really think of, there's about 3 that I can pull out from this movie. So the first one is the aunts. The first time we see them doing any sort of love spell is in the beginning when Sally and Jillian come to live on Magnolia Street with the aunts after their parents both pass away. And the girls, they come to learn all about the aunts' magic and witchcraft for hire that they are using to make a living. And some of their spells are not so ethical. The one that is highlighted in the movie is the lovelorn woman who comes banging at the back porch door when the aunts have the exchange, get the bird, get the buck. The woman wants her lover, who is implied that he is a married man. She wants him to leave her, his wife, so she can have him. So she puts his picture down on the table. They take the dove out of the cage. They give the woman the long pin. Franny instructs Jet to take the money, which can be seen thrown down on the table. As the woman holds the pin up to the bird, she says, "I want him to want me so much that he can't stand it." And she stabs the bird. Then Jet takes the pin out of her hand and warns her, "Be careful what you wish for." And Sally is clearly traumatized by this occurrence. And Jillian, her curiosity and excitement about love has been piqued. So enter all the self-destructive love behaviors from here on for Jillian, right?
Yeah, well, for both of them, really, like that, but it's just opposite sides of the coin.
Right, there's no balance there. It's just like extremes.
Extreme.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset that I never saw that one resolve, but if you want to take a moment, can we like speculate? Well, first of all, that situation was so fucked up.
Oh, like, absolutely. Yeah. And
how do you think that ended? Because we never hear about it after that.
Right. If we're just going off the movie, no, we don't hear about it after that. But that's Irene from the book, and we know how it turns out in the book. And she shows up at the end in the circle of women. So, okay, she's still alive. We know she's still alive. But she does look a little haggard. Like, she looks a little like, I feel like the aunts know what they're doing, and she got what she wanted. Whether it was like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like variation or adulterated version of what she asked for. But we don't see anything happen.
Yeah.
I think she comes back in the book a second time. Irene. She goes the first time for love, which she gets from this guy who doesn't really pay attention to her. And then she goes back a second time because it's like love is one thing, marriage was another thing. So this shows her going back for, I want him to leave his wife, and that's what she got.
Yeah, I don't know how that one would have ended in the movie anyway, because she shows up again at the end of the movie. We don't really know what happened. They kind of set that whole thing up, and then there was like no payoff. And I'm like, oh, well, what the fuck happened to her?
I kind of like that it doesn't leave everything tied up in a nice little bow. Yeah, you know what I mean? Kind of like Alice did in the Book of Magic. Not everybody gets a happy ending or even an ending, which is okay.
Yeah, I don't think everything necessarily needs to be tied up. I think it's more powerful when some things are left to the imagination, because then we can kind of like create our own ending in our mind, like
we're doing now.
Sometimes I think that's more fun, because when I guess an author or a writer of whatever the content is, when they put that ending into, I guess when they make it concrete and kind of put it out there as like, and present it as like, this is the ending. It's kind of the like official ending. And then it's
Right.
like, that could get a little disappointing for some if that's not what you expected or not what you wanted or hoped for.
A good example is at the end of the movie, we see Jillian just chilling in the garden. Like, what does she get into? What happens? You know, and that leaves a whole, you know, room for another storyline if Alice ever
Right.
chooses to do so. I'm not saying.
Yeah.
But it's nice to speculate and see. And even with the aunts, you know, theirs is an open story. But like we speculated in another episode, we're like, okay, Sally got all the things she wished for as a child because Gary is in like a place of like not power, but like he's supposed to be the good guy. Like Cowboys and Indians, he's a good character. We think he's going to be a good husband. He's a hero.
Right.
Is he a good guy, or is he like got that like salty underbelly? You know?
Yeah.
Know what I mean? Is he keeping kids in the basement?
Well, speaking of kids in the basement, first of all, I don't even think Gary has a basement. Okay.
I know he's sleeping on a cot in the desert.
Do they have basements in the desert? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But speaking of Gary, we're gonna shimmy on over to that beloved Almas Veritas love spell that Sally creates when she was a child. So after young Sally sees the aunts sticking the dove with a pin for their neighbor, she vows to never fall in love. She then summons up a true love spell called Almas Veritas, in which she picks rose petals from the bushes in the aunt's conservatory. As she plucks each petal, she recites the following lines of a spell to create the perfect man in her childhood eyes. And I think we even talked about this on a past episode. Do you think the Gary that she created as a child would wanted the same Gary that like she had as
right.
she had asked or wished for the same things, you know?
I feel like she would have been like a compassionate man, somebody who pays his taxes on time, somebody who picks up his laundry, you know, shit all adult women just kind of
somebody to adopt her children, right? That would be probably a priority. But no, these are some of the such innocent things she wished for as a child, which is why I'm thinking that this kind of worked out in the movie because it came from such a pure innocent place. So she asks for, he will hear my call a mile away, he will whistle my favorite song, he can ride a pony backwards, he can flip pancakes in the air, he'll be marvelously kind, and his favorite shape will be a star, and he'll have one green eye and one blue. And as she wraps up her spell, a young Jilly is following her around the conservatory, rocking that badass blue kimono.
She looks good.
And she questions Sally, and she said, but I thought the perfect guy doesn't exist. And Sally says, that's the point. If he doesn't exist, I'll never die of a broken heart. So after Sally concludes reciting the spell, she has a bowl full of rose petals, the ones that she picks, which she then releases to the full moon. So later, when Gary comes to town and, you know, when he's searching for Jimmy, and during his time sniffing around Magnolia Street, us as the audience start to notice that he might very well fit the criteria of the spell that Sally had cast when she was a child. So during the scene, if you've noticed, when he's flipping the pancakes, well, first of all, flipping the pancakes was one of the things on her list. But then Sally is seen in the kitchen preparing breakfast as well, and they can both be heard humming, not whistling, which is what she asked for. She asked for whistling, not humming. So right here, I'm like, okay, that's not
the
really
line a little bit
along the lines, but not exactly what she asked for. So they're humming the same tune. So it's like the spell says, not exactly, but close enough. So he's flipping the pancakes like the line in her spell. He's a man of the law, so he has a star badge, which Sally informs that it's his talisman. Sally eventually notices he has the one green eye, one blue. So now us as the audience, we're putting all these pieces together and we're like, oh shit, that's her spell. He's the guy. So the scene before Gary defeats Jimmy's ghost with his star badge in the attic, he must have heard that Sally was in distress because he shows up ready to take on Jimmy. And after he defeats Jimmy in the attic, him and Sally have a talk. Again, if you've noticed in her spell as a child, she writes, he'll hear my call a mile away. So him hearing her in distress when, you know, they're about to, the shit with Jimmy's about to hit the fan in that attic, like he shows up like unannounced, like nobody called him, right?
And
he
the
just
other thing is, like, where did he show up from? Because they came up the stairs.
Yeah.
Did he come up the other set of stairs, which doesn't lead to the attic? It only goes to the second floor. He comes like out around one of the other walls. He just kind of shows up. I'm like, how the hell did he get up there? And I wanted to say another thing was when she's doing her spell and she says his favorite shape will be a star, she plucks like a little jasmine flower that has 5 points
that's
on it.
right. That's
Which
right.
I was like, that's fucking cute.
Good catch. Good catch. And jasmine is such a sweet smelling flower.
So
And
sweet.
a
Yeah.
little sweetness to that spell, which we talk a little bit about sweetening later, right? With the
Oh, yeah.
molasses. I love it.
Oh,
All right.
well.
So when him and Sally have this talk after the whole Jimmy stuff, after Gary defeats Jimmy in the attic, him and Sally have a talk, and Sally admits to taking Jimmy's life. She's like, "I'll tell you where I buried the body. I'll tell you how I did it," and she like goes on this whole rant. So Gary admits that he read Sally's letter about 1,000 times, and then he admits that it wasn't as much the letter that brought him to Magnolia Street as it was Sally herself. He knows he's supposed to be there to bring in the bad guy, but his feelings for Sally have him mixed up about his true reasons for being there. And then Sally admits, "The reason you're here and you don't know why is because I sent for you. When I was a little girl, I worked a spell so I would never fall in love. I asked for qualities in a man that I knew couldn't possibly exist, but you do."
This scene is so gut-wrenching as an adult. Like, as a kid, you're like, oh, that's cute. But like, when he says his line, oh my God, my heart.
Yeah. So it's this moment that we see the scene of Gary as a child, and he's on his pony backwards, and Sally's rose petals can be seen falling around him as he's looking to the sky. Gary asks her, "So you're saying what I'm feeling is just one of your spells?" And Sally has said, "Yeah, it's not real. So if you stay, I wouldn't know if it was because of the spell, and you wouldn't know if it was because I didn't want to go to prison." So Gary says, now, here's where, like, all right, Gary, you're a man of the law. He goes, "Well, all relationships have problems," which says that he doesn't really care if it was because of a spell or not. He just wants Sally, And they laugh a bit. And then Sally gets really serious and says, "I'm right, aren't I?" And then Gary, this is your favorite quote, Christina. Gary goes, "Well, you do what you do, and I do what I do, and we'll see where we end up." And then,
I love it.
Gary goes to walk away, but then he turns around and he says, "Curses only have power when you believe in them, and I don't." And he starts to walk away again, but then he turns around again, and he goes, "You know what? I wish for you too."
Oh,
and heart. Sally, it just sends her into an ugly ass cry.
Sandra Bullock is so good at crying. Like, she looks gorgeous no matter what, right? Like, even cry, like,
it just sent her into like, she just like melted. At the end, after Sally and the Coven defeat Jimmy's ghost once and for all, and she felt like that curse was good and lifted. Newsflash and sidebar: if you read Book of Magic, the curse wasn't lifted because Gary dies. She sends out a leaf back to the movie now. She sends out a leaf into the sky, which floats up to the moon, the same way she did with the rose petals as a little girl. And if you notice in this scene, the moon is in its waxing phase. It's not full this time. It's waxing, but perhaps to symbolize, and this is just me speculating, perhaps to symbolize their love about to manifest.
Growing.
Yeah. And then Gary can be seen in the very next scene laying in bed or somewhere, and he looks up, and we don't see what he actually sees when he looks up. The camera doesn't show what he sees, but it's implied that he has received her summoning leaf. So again, he'll hear her call a mile away, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next scene is him arriving back on Magnolia Street when him and Sally meet up in the garden and seal their relationship with a romantic kiss.
I hadn't read your whole thing. So it's basically like in addition to that. So like another little thing that we might have pointed out in other episodes is that the scene where Sally and the aunts are walking out from the post office, when Sally passes under the tree, it magically, like, some killer wind chimes come in and like all these leaves start falling around her, right? So I've heard that is the moment where Gary wishes for her too. Like, whatever version he spoke aloud or thought, it found her in those leaves. So those leaves falling around her were like her roses falling around him.
Okay, which is interesting because, all right, so she does that love spell when she's a little girl, all right? Mm-hmm. And Gary, he sees her rose petals, they fall on him, he's already been summoned. But if those leaves in that scene when they're coming out of the post office, when they fall on Sally, so he, at that moment, that's when he sent for her, so they were already adults by the time he was like, all right, now I want to do my little love spell or whatever. So I guess it took a little time for him to come full circle.
As is normal for men. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like she knows
Yeah.
what she wants, but it takes a little while for a man to come around. And I'm gonna say she's what, in like her like late 20s or something, almost 30 at that point. So he's probably like got his career, he's ready to settle down. And so that was him wishing for her.
But that's funny because that's right before the aunts even do the spell on her and Michael. Because that was like right before her and Michael bumped into each other on the street, and the aunts saw the little look they gave each other and were like, all right, let's make this happen. So Gary actually sent for Sally before that love spell was even put into place. So maybe that's why that love spell actually never worked. Maybe.
And you see Jetty, like she notices the leaves too. And I'm wondering if they just like misread it, because like we love the aunts. The aunts are great, but they're also fallible. You know what I mean? And so immediately after the leaves fall is when Michael and Sally kind of notice each other, and then Jet's like, all right, I know what that must have something to do. They have something to do with each other. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like you said, her releasing that leaf, like Gary and leaves are just connected for me. When you had written down, and then they put the spell on her, they put the spell on Sally and Michael, which so problematic. Yeah. So initially Jet says that they just wanted to give her a little push. They wanted her to be happy, right? And later we hear Franny like cackle about having to bind the spell with molasses just to get your legs to open up.
She went all Donna with it.
She did go all Donna with it. She went Rizzo with it.
Rizzo.
So which is likely, okay, if you're dabbling in root work. So hoodoo conjure root work, one of the oldest, stablest, and most traditional sweetness, like the sweetness of molasses is used for like any long-term sweetening work. Apparently it moves very slowly, so it's best to use for the end goal situation and let faster sweeteners get things off the ground. So because of its sticky properties, it's used to hold two things together, such as binding couples in a sticky relationship. Sticky relationship. There we go.
I would not want to be in a sticky relationship. That sounds disgusting.
Yeah. So it's interesting that they really wanted that to work. Tell me your thoughts about this love spell.
Well, we already know how unethical the aunts are just by the magic that they're doing in the beginning of the woman. Like they're killing doves, they're letting, random neighbors try to steal each other's husbands. Like they don't give a fuck.
They get the money. That's a huge wad of cash that Irene throws down on the table.
100%.
Yeah.
But for them to put a spell on their own beloved niece.
Yeah.
It's like that just goes even further to say like they're highly unethical.
Do you think that they would be the kind of caregivers? Because my mind, like if we're going in that vein, like as little girls, like Sally and Jillian say they're being rambunctious. Do you think that the aunts are the kind of aunts that would put like a calming spell or a quieting spell or like go to sleep, like just giving them melatonin? Go to bed kind of aunts,
like
control the situation.
Valerian root or some shit.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think the aunts are the type of people that are like children should be seen and not heard. Like I don't think they're those type of people. Like I think they are. Either. I think they are very loving. I think they are very nurturing. They accepted the girls in wholeheartedly when their parents died. They even go as far as to not give a fuck what the girls really do. There's no rules. Chocolate cake for breakfast, anything goes. I honestly think that the love spell that they put on Sally came from a good place. They had good intentions. They just wanted Sally to be happy. But come on, this is not their first rodeo. They know the repercussions of a love spell.
So, I wondered if they just thought that they would date and like bang once or twice and then like she would move on. I don't think they thought they would get married. Yeah.
Right. Like didn't Franny say at one point, we didn't think that you would
truly love him.
That you would truly love him. Right.
Oh,
exactly.
God.
Exactly. Okay. I was just trying to say, like, I think that spell did come from a good place. I think they had every like good intention with that spell. They just wanted Sally to be happy, but I think it missed the mark.
Yeah, I think they didn't anticipate it evolving, as magic sometimes does. Once it's out of your hands, good luck.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, there's no way to tell like where a spell is going to end up. Like we never know how it's going to backfire. We never know the course it's going to take. And you know, sometimes fate just has its own plan, whether it's magic or not. As we've talked about, like, is it the curse? Did they just die? Did they just
Exactly.
Did they just die? Like you just don't know.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah,
Team Gary. They only have power if you believe in them.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
So let's talk about, we're going to switch it up a little bit and we're going to go a little bit out of order with the books because like you said, Magic Lessons has so much. It's the origin of this whole freaking series. And we're going to talk about Magic Lessons first because that's where it all originates from, right?
Okey-doke.
So in the story of practical magic, love potions play a significant part of the plot and the history of the Owens family, who are descendants of a long line of witches. It really is the catalyst of the story. And if you dial it back, even before Maria, her mother, Rebecca, had placed a love spell on her husband,
Thomas Lockland.
And that's where all of our problems begin.
Yeah.
So we're going to start on page 11. It says, the women who made their way through the woods most often came for one thing. Time and time again, it was love. Love everlasting. Young love. Love defiled. Love that caused aches and pains. Love that left bruises and red welts. Love wished for desperately. Or love to be rid of as quickly as possible. For Hannah is Maria's adopted mother. Often Hannah wrote down the desired result and placed the bit of parchment in her spell book. Spell box?
I guess her box of tools she uses for spells.
Okay. She casts her spells while lighting a candle, white for health, black for expunging sorrow, red for love. Prick the third finger of your left hand with a silver needle to bring back a lover. The power of a spell increased with the waxing moon and decreased with the waning moon. Time mattered, devotion mattered, belief mattered most of all. And it continues, it says, her book filled with remedies and spells, careful to take note of the potions and powders that were prescribed, amulets of apple seeds, which we just talked about, and menstrual blood, doses of henbane that could bind a couple together, or if used to excess could cause delirium or death, the heart of a deer or dove that brought about devotion even in the most feckless, untrustworthy of men, and fragrant verbena, which depending on its use and what the user desired could bring a man to you or cause him to be impotent. Remember one thing, Hannah told Maria, always love someone who will love you back. Oh,
all right.
That's so problematic. All right, go for it.
All right, so on page 20, now we're getting into the like actual love spells. In this book, there's a lot of lists, a lot of little spells, a lot of little wives' tales. So on page 20, this list is called For Love. So the first one on this list, boil yarrow into a tea, prick the third finger of your hand, add 3 drops of blood, and give it to your beloved. The second one is never cut parsley with a knife if you are in love, or bad luck will come your way. The next one is salt tossed on the fire for 7 days will bring an errant lover home. Charms for wandering husbands are feathers, hair, blood, and bone. Prick a candle with a pin. When the flame burns down to the pin, your true love will arrive. I'm pretty sure, don't they do that one in Rules of Magic? Don't they prick the candle with the pin in Rules?
Yeah, they do, and Halen shows up. You're right.
That's right.
I
don't know if we had this in here. I'm just, what's it called? Predicting what your notes were further down.
I don't think I have it in. I don't think I have it in here. Good catch.
All right. So to win the favor of Venus in all matters of love, gather a white garment, a dove, a circle, a star. On the 7th day of the 7th month, 7 stars. I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
Weird.
But that's
okay.
Yeah. And then on page 241, it references, I guess, the black soap. And it was just like saying like a bunch of stuff you could add to the black soap for different reasons. And one of the things is adding lilac for love.
I love lilac.
Yeah. Do you notice in Book of Magic, the last book, do you have the audiobook for that one?
Mm-hmm.
The woman who reads that audiobook, she keeps saying lilac. Like lilac.
So funny. Yeah,
and,
yeah.
For like the longest time, I'm like, what's a lilac? Is she saying lilac? Is she trying to say lilac? What the fuck? Finally, I had to like look in the actual like the notes on the Kindle reader to see what the fuck she was saying. I was like, why is she saying it like that? It's lilac, so right?
That's so funny.
She kept saying lilac. I'm like, all right, I've never.
It's not. Does she have an accent? I don't remember.
No, not even. So I'm like, it would have been one thing if she was like British or something, but she's not.
Yeah.
Wasn't. She had an American accent, but she kept saying lilac. I was like, it
make sense.
I've never heard anybody say lilac like.
You're trying too hard.
Yeah. Anyway.
I love
I
lilacs.
digress.
They do mention lilacs a lot too in Rules of Magic. So we're gonna have a whole topic on that, and we're also gonna have a whole thing coming up probably in like March about soap making. So
Mhm.
stick around for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, page 27, it says Rebecca admitted that she had cast a spell on her husband years earlier. I think this is Thomas Laughlin, right? She
Mhm.
had bound him to her, bewitching him with the 10th love potion, a spell far too dangerous for common use. And it continues. This is the 10th love potion. Wrap a red candle on which his name and yours is written on red paper, soak in dove's blood, and burn through the night, saying the words, love conquers all, so it must be. Let him burn with love for me. My lover's heart will feel this pen, and his devotion I will win, which also is like the same words for the 9th, isn't it?
Maybe. But if you notice, this is the same exact spell that the aunts do for Irene in the movie.
That's what I'm thinking of. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's the same wording. His devotion I will win is the same wording in Practical Magic book.
The book.
I believe, yeah. Okay. There will be no way for him to rest or sleep until he comes to me to speak. Only when he loves me best will he find peace, and with peace rest. The incantation must be recited while stabbing a dove's heart with the 7 pins on the 7th day of the week. So Thomas Laughlin, this is page 36 and 37. Thomas Laughlin had royal blood, diluted by hatred and drink. Theirs was a case of love gone wrong. Such things happen even to the wisest of women. Rebecca had been young when she met her husband-to-be, at an age where she saw only what the outside of a man revealed. She was inexperienced enough to assume that what they had was love because she wanted him, and what can be 100 times stronger than need and 1,000 times stronger than common sense.
That
She
kind of
used
goes back to what we were saying before, like how when you're young, like you only
Mhm.
want what you see. You're not
Mhm.
really, I feel like when you're younger, you go for, I guess, aesthetically pleasing lovers, like lust. You're driven by the
Mhm.
attraction first and foremost. You're not really
Absolutely.
paying attention to what that person is on the inside, and that could be a really shitty ass person.
Exactly. You're not looking at that like, oh, he's so kind. Oh, he's so funny. Oh,
Right.
he's like so caring and compassionate. No, you're
Yeah.
looking for that
Yeah.
snack, you
Which
know.
says a lot about Sally as a child, because as a child she was like, even like as a young kid, she was still like very mature about her desires and wants and priorities of what she wanted in a man or in a partner.
Yeah.
And one of
It's
those
really cool
things
that they've
was,
solidified that like as her
yeah,
character.
and one of those things that she wanted was that he will be marvelously kind. She wanted to make sure right off the bat that he was somebody that could provide that emotional comfort to her.
She's so
Yeah,
smart.
I know.
It's so cute.
Anyway,
So Rebecca used the 10th love potion, an enchantment only fit for those so desperate that they did not fear the consequences, and there were always consequences. The payment for this potion was dear and had in the past cost the user her well-being. It was the one that could turn a person inside out and destroy one or both parties. Desire, if handled incorrectly, could become a curse.
there you go.
There we go. Page 38, Hannah had crafted so that in time there would be an orchard where the variety of apple called everlasting brought true love to anyone who ate the fruit grown in this valley. On page 41, she, talking about Hannah, taught Maria the 8th lesser love charms in the 9th potion, which was so potent one must wear gloves during its preparation. The 10th potion was the one she herself had used, and she did not recommend the use of that enchantment. So I guess I'm confused on so the 10th love potion is the one that Rebecca used on her husband. That's the one that Irene uses in Practical Magic. Is this right? But the 9th love potion, this 9th potion was, you had to wear gloves to put it together. Like it's
I
also
guess
as
so.
powerful.
So this is another, I guess this is another one of the lists in this book. Again, this book is chock full of stuff that Maria is adding to her grimoire over the course of this book, like as she's learning these lessons, because this book is called Magic Lessons, right? These are lessons that she's learning from not only from Hannah, but over the course of this book and her life.
Mhm.
Just things that she wants to add to this grimoire that gets passed down for centuries to her family, the Owens women as we know today.
Yeah.
So one of these things is love gone wrong. This is on page 44. Vervain eases the pain of unrequited love. A cobweb on a door means your beloved has been untrue. To bring about passion, anise seed, burdock root, and myrtle leaves. Amulets for luck are made of blue beads, dove feathers, mistletoe, and wishbones. All spells increase with the waxing moon, decrease with the waning moon. Place 2 eggs under the bed to cleanse the atmosphere. Destroy afterward. Do not eat or you will swallow bad fortune. A mirror beside you reflects back the evil eye and for protection against love. Black cloth, red thread, clove, blackthorn. Page 74. Women who are unlucky in love must throw their silver out the front door if they want to improve their fortunes. And Rebecca had often done so, which is interesting because wasn't there a bit in the books saying that silver tarnishes if a witch touches it?
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with anything. I just
Oh, no, you're right.
I'm like, yeah, she has to throw her silver out the front door because it's not even silver anymore. It's just tarnished. Page 90. They had never seen this rain color before, and some young women collected it in pots so they might wash with it. For green is love and luck, just as jealousy and envy. And that was in reference to the color of the rain. Do you remember I think it was Rules of Magic, we were like, what's with this green rain? Like, what the fuck?
Keeps popping back up.
So that they also, I guess this is the origin of the green rain because this is the first book. Not the first book, but like the first part of the story, like the origins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Page 91. To stop wanting him, Hathorn is who this is talking about. She wrote his name on a white candle and threw it out far out to sea, but it was not enough. A witch's love is not so easily erased. She drank lettuce water, which sounds horrible, by the way.
Disgusting.
Poured whiskey in an iron pot, bathed in salt and vinegar, and then with anise seed and bay leaves, and still she could not rid herself of her emotions.
Of salt and vinegar bath?
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah, right? I hope she didn't have any like paper cuts or anything.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about that touching your hoo-ha and like, oh,
ouch.
Ugh.
Ouch. All right, page 121. The most reliable love potions were the ones Maria had learned watching from a corner as Hannah worked her magic. A woman could plant an onion and keep it on her windowsill. She could write her own name and her intendeds on a white candle and burn it without ever extinguishing the flame. She could braid a strand of her own hair with her beloved's and keep it under her pillow. This is continued on 121. When the 8 lesser charms had been tried and had met with failure, Maria turned to the 9th, which do no harm and could not force love, but instead gently invited it to walk through the door. Okay,
that's where I'm confused.
This is what like
it's so dangerous to make.
Well, I guess didn't we talk? We touched on this briefly. I think maybe on the Apple episode, like recently.
Yeah.
And you said to me, you were like, isn't this like the gentle love potion? I was like, no, I think this is the one that like brought on the curse. But no, I was wrong. I think it's the 10th. I think the love potion's the more gentle one.
Okay.
The 9th potion is the more gentle, welcoming it to walk through the door, not forcing it. The 10th, however, is like the big kahuna. Like you don't fuck with the 10th unless you like
it's the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah. It's like burst through the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck with the 10th unless like you really don't care about consequences, in which case like good luck.
Rebecca didn't. Yeah.
Rebecca she didn't give a shit. And look what happened to her. All right, so the love potion number 9. So you need weren't you saying recently you're like, I have all these things. Like I
have all these things. Let's do this.
It's very practical. 9 ounces of red wine, 9 basil leaves, 9 rose petals, 9 cloves, 9 apple seeds, 9 anise seeds, 9 drops of vinegar. Combine all ingredients on the 9th hour of the 9th day of the month. The effect is strongest when performed on the 9th month of the year. Stir 9 times. Let the one who drinks this wine grant me true love divine. I guess you're supposed to say that. Do you want to tell us about the 10th? Because this is where it gets fucked up.
This is where the sauce hits the fan. That's not right. So the 10th love potion, it says, the one Rebecca had cast upon Lachlan was written down in Maria's grimoire, but she had made an oath never to use it, not for any woman who came calling, no matter how desperate, and certainly never for herself. It was a spell written in blood. able to turn a person inside out with raw emotion, and it could never be reversed without grave consequences. The 10th was a dangerous spell, as much of ancient magic was, called on elemental powers that could turn one's beloved's heart to stone if the slightest error was made. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on.
What?
I'm going to reread that, but like, does she cast the 10th on
Rebecca?
Hawthorne?
Maria?
Yeah, does she ever do that?
I don't remember.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
Because I'm like, is that why he like turned from her? You know.
Hmm.
But no, he was just being an asshole.
He's just a douche.
To stone. If the slightest error was made in its creation, and the ingredients could cause complete havoc if not used correctly. That was page 121 and 122.
Oh, wait, never mind. I was like, oh, there it is. But no, it's not Maria. It's Rebecca.
The 10th was said to be unbreakable, and nothing in this world should be so. For all that is and ever will be must change. There you go.
Wow. So yeah, the 10th seems like it just it fucks with everyone's free will.
Yeah.
You don't fuck with that, but
Nope.
Rebecca don't give a shit. So
Mm-mm.
yeah, we have to figure out if Maria did that to Hathorn. I don't remember if she did.
I think he was just an ass.
Yeah.
I think he was just a man's.
Okay. All right. So moving on to page 126, it says she set to work baking a love cake using the recipe Hannah had taught her. It was a skillet cake made over the fire, and as it baked, it turned from white to red, kind of like the cakes that Sally makes in Book of Magic, the very last book, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Didn't she bake that for Ian when she was able to see red again or something like that? Remember she
I thought she was supposed to. I thought she was making the pie to call Kylie.
or was it
home.
the pie? Okay. So was it the apples that turned from white to red?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So this is talking about a cake. The cake turns from white to red. So she sets it out to cool, but an hour later returned to find that the cake had been devoured by ants. It was a dark sign, but one she ignored as she threw away what was left of the cake. And I think that was talking about Maria baking a cake for Hathorn. But she threw it away. I don't think she gave it to him. Page 129, it said whenever she closed her eyes, she saw herself holding a black heart in her hands. Turn it over once for love, twice for betrayal, 3 times for heartbreak. Page 131, to summon John to her, she rubbed her wrists with lavender oil. She had a pocket full of bird bones gathered from the grass of grazing land in Boston, then strung on a bit of rope that she wore around her wrists. They were spells for love and for remembrance. She wore Caden's black feather in a charm at her throat. That's Maria trying to bring John when she's trying to find him. Remember when like he goes back to the States, she's in the islands, the Caribbean still, and she's like looking for him. And she's like, it's not like you have the internet back in the 1600s.
You got magic.
You got to do magic to find your love. But he wasn't a love. He was a fuck.
He was a fuck boy.
He was a fuck boy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then you had added this because I didn't remember this part in the story.
Yeah.
But go ahead and tell us about Anne Hatch.
Anne Heche.
Anne Heche.
Rest in peace, Anne Heche.
Yeah.
Sidebar, isn't that crazy how she fucking died?
That's such it doesn't seem real to me.
It makes no sense.
It's a cover up.
It makes no sense. Like moments before she walked into a wig store and she like bought a wig.
I mean,
fucking
mental
random.
health. Yeah,
I don't know.
Random. Well, like you're saying, what in the random?
What in the random? Anyway, I digress. Anne Hatch, not Heche. Anne Hatch, the love spell. Anne Hatch was a character in Magic Lessons. I guess one of the townspeople that Maria befriends or meets up with during her time in Essex. Anne Hatch was a woman who I think she owned this like store, like country store, grocery store or something.
Okay.
And her husband was abusive and he was basically a piece of shit. So Maria does this spell for Anne to kind of just like get rid of the husband.
So
then if you were a widow back in the day, you were able to own land or something of the sort. If the husband had, I don't know, if they had found out what really happened, she would not have been able to own the land. She would have been fucked. She would have been screwed. So
yeah,
Maria
I think if they're divorced, you can't own land, but if you're a widow, you can own land.
I think that was it. Yeah. So Maria made it basically so Anne was set for life. She didn't have to worry about this douchey guy anymore, like abusing her. She was, she had her land, she had her money, she was good, she was set. So this spell, Maria had Anne cut a lock of her hair to burn in a brass dish. This was the end. This symbolized the end of an old life and the beginning of a new one, and the transition must be marked. From black cloth and red thread, a small poppet was fashioned, stuffed with blackthorn and cherry bark, and then Anne's husband's name, Nathaniel, was stitched upon the cloth. Anne pierced her finger in the process, and her blood stained the cloth, but she had bled many times before on her husband's behalf. The incantation for the end of love was written on a slip of paper that she attached to a candle that burned brightly. Let our bond be broken by the powers above. You will wish to run, and you won't look back. When I look for you, nothing will remain. You will not remember me, and you will be nothing to me. This was magic that needed words, for literary magic held the greatest power. Once home, Anne was to bury the poppet outside her front door, then burn the incantation and walk the perimeter of their property, laying down the ashes. When she went inside the house, she must dust his clothes with salt. This will drive him away, Maria said. Once he leaves, his fate is his own, and neither you nor I are responsible for what happens then. And he did. He disappeared. Yeah, he fucked off. So good on them. I think they
Maria was like, I'll handle this. She's one of those friends.
Yeah, she's ride or die.
She's a ride or die.
For sure.
So that was a lot. That was a lot for magic lessons.
Yeah.
And we're just
and
hitting that tip of the iceberg.
There was more,
man.
I'm sure. I just that's where I stopped because I was like, oh my God, there's literally so much in magic.
Yeah. This is huge. Love. From the beginning of time, even in the biblical sense, love has always been the problem. And the solution sometimes.
It's always the problem. All right.
So let's talk about rules of magic really quickly. On page 26 and 27, it says, when it came to love, you must always be careful. If you drop something belonging to the man you loved into a candle flame, then added pine needles and marigold flowers, he would arrive on your doorstep by morning. So you would do well to be certain you wanted him there. The most basic and reliable love potion was made from anise, rosemary, honey, and cloves, boiled for 9 hours on the back burner of the old stove. It has always cost $9.99 and was therefore called Love Potion Number 9, which worked best on the 9th hour of the 9th day of the 9th month.
So it's basically reiterating the love potion in Rules of Magic. Right.
And then you had said, this also pops up, you had said about putting the pin in the candle and having it burn down.
Yeah.
They do this, and then Franny does this, and then Halen shows up. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. And then practical magic. Yeah, I don't remember any real love spells from practical magic, but there's a couple here. This is from pages 16 to 17, and this says, my lover's heart will feel this pin, and his devotion I will win. There will be no way for him to rest nor sleep until he comes to me to speak. Only when he loves me best will he find peace, and with peace rest. Jillian made little stabbing motions, which is what the girl was to do to the dove's heart when she repeated these words for 7 nights in a row before she went to bed. So is this a spell that Jillian does?
No, Jillian is watching. The girls are watching from the doorsteps or watching Irene do this. But I want to say, if Irene is doing this 9th love spell, it's not 7 days. This should be 9 days.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? All
right. And if Irene is doing this spell, isn't this the spell that welcomes love in, like,
gently?
Gently?
Yeah. Somebody had a change of mind, Alice.
Yeah, I'm surprised that, like, they didn't invoke the 10th for Irene, because she was really adamant that she wanted this done. Right? Yeah, exactly. The next one is page 21. So Christina says magic comes at a price. So the premise of this, the drugstore girl didn't even look like a girl anymore. Irene, right? This is who this is referring to. She looked old. Her hair wasn't shiny, and her mouth had a funny shape, as though she'd bitten into something sour. She rubbed her hands together. Perhaps the skin was chapped, but more likely she was nervous in some terrible way. Sally picked up the wicker basket of onions and watched as their onions and watched as their aunt's customer knocked on the back door. No one answered, so she pounded against the wood, frantic and angry. "Open up," she called out again and again. She kept right on knocking, and the sound echoed unanswered. This is Irene, who eventually the aunts made it so she couldn't speak anymore for a really long time, right? Didn't she slap Sally in the garden?
Yeah, I think that happens right after this little scene. So the girl shows back up, like, because the dude won't leave her alone and wants to fuck her all the time. So she's like, right. I need help.
Yeah.
She goes back. The aunts aren't coming to the door. She sees the Sally and Jillian in the garden, has words with them, ends up slapping Sally. and the aunts see this, so then they cast a spell on Irene that she's mute. So
Right. Yeah. So this is just one of those things that we were talking about before, like how a spell backfires. Because yeah, she went to the aunts to get this one guy to love her. Was he married previously?
yes.
Okay, so the same kind of deal that's in the movie. So this guy was married previously. She wants this married man. The aunts make it so that she can have this married man. But yeah, now it backfire. Now he won't leave her the fuck alone.
Right.
She can't do anything without him. Yeah, like you said, he always constantly wants to have sex. She wants nothing to do with him now. She can't get rid of him. So I don't remember how this one ended. Do you remember? Did he die? Did he move? Like what happened? I don't
At the
remember what
very
happened.
end, it's like the very last scene. The girls go to figure out whatever happened to that girl because they see the dove's heart on the plate, the whole
Yeah.
Sally thing, like the magic. And they go to see the drugstore girl. They show up at the drugstore, and the guy is like, "Oh, you mean Irene? She moved to Florida after her husband died, and she's
He
living her
did
best
die.
life."
Do you think
Yeah.
she killed him because she was just so sick of him being up her ass?
I'm good with that theory. Yeah.
Page 86. Sally refuses to have meat, fish, or fowl at their table in spite of her daughter's complaints. She has to close her eyes when she walks past the packaged chicken legs in the market, and still she's always reminded of the dove the aunts use for their coffee.
Whoa.
And still she's always reminded of the dove the aunts use for their most serious love charm.
So that was like the catalyst why she doesn't eat meat, I guess. Because
Got
she
it.
saw the dove
Okay.
dove
Yeah.
heart being
Don't
used.
they find the dove heart at the end of this book too, like in the fridge on Thanksgiving? And
Yes, they
Kitty's like,
do.
oh, the aunts are at it again, or something like that. So
Exactly.
we don't really know if it's the aunts that put the spell on Sally and Gary, right? Because wasn't Sally like, is this why Gary showed up to Thanksgiving?
Right.
So,
We don't know.
So even in the book, like we don't know if it's because of a spell or if it's because they're actually in love. It's just fucking we never know.
I like that open-endedness.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got one more book to do. Here we go, and then we'll give you a little break. So, Book of Magic is that fourth book in the series, and on page 10 and 11 it says Love Potion number 9, which consisted of anise, rosemary, honey, and cloves, all simmered for 9 hours and always costing $9.99. Jet would never charge a penny more, and she made certain to remind the buyer that the spell worked best on the 9th hour of the 9th day, the 9th month.
A lot of
On
nines.
some night, what?
A lot of nines.
A lot of nines. A lot of nines. On some nights, neighborhood women stood in the dark in front of the Owens house, their hands clutched the iron fence with jewelry or cash in their purses, in need of assistance in matters of love or health or revenge.
Don't they trample like the daffodils or some shit?
They do, yeah.
Assholes. They have no consideration. Anyway, page 83. Mostly they searched out Jet. It was true, for she was kinder and more compassionate. Franny often told people to go fuck themselves. Basically. Franny often told people the harsh truth without any fudging or fabrications. Are you sure, she would say, everything has a cost. Why on earth did so many of them want love charms to trick people who wanted nothing to do with them into falling head over heels? Ridiculous, Franny thought. If that's being normal, then normal is madness. Franny has been through the ringer. Like, we saw her whole past in Rules of Magic. Like, she knows she's very cautious of love and taking that lightly, the whole concept of love, like taking it lightly. And like all these like townspeople, like it's so disposable to them. Like it's just like I don't know if it's a novelty, these love spells to them. Like they're just like, yeah, do it, whatever, I don't care. But like they're not even thinking of the repercussions. Ever.
No. I want to say that this is Book of Magic, but like in Rules of Magic, like Jet had so much more loss than Franny yet. I'm not going to say ever had, because everybody experiences loss differently.
Yeah.
But like Franny was salty from the beginning and had like a cynical outlook on life. But Jet, if anybody, should be jaded, by love. But she's still there to support people, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. That says a lot about her character. Should we take a break?
I'm ready to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to do a card pull. We're going to talk about more love and lore and magic. So stick around.
We'll be right back. You're listening to Magnolia Street Podcast. Hello, Clarice.
Hello, Donna.
Put the lotion in the basket.
It puts the lotion on the skin, or it gets the hose again.
You can rent that house out.
Really? Oh, actually, did we talk about this? I think I was talking about this with Caitlin.
Yeah, on the Salem
That's
bonus
weird.
episode. Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the bonus episode. No thanks. Here we go. We got
my
a card
deck.
pull.
Oh, it's upside down. I got my deck right here.
Give us a little card pull, my friend.
All right, so yes, there is an Almas Veritas card. Alrighty, so yes, we are going to talk today about the Almas Veritas card from the Inner Witch Oracle deck by Grounded by the Moon. The key word on this card is manifest, visualization. So it says, and this is a really cute card. It's got the bowl with the rose petals.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like bummed that it's not the same as the box though, because the box has the moon in front of it.
It's beautiful.
Or
Is
behind
that
it.
is that
It's not
full
the
moon
same.
its own card? Is that the full moon card on?
Yeah,
that's
the
shown
full
on the
moon does
box?
have, yeah, the full moon does have
Got
its
it.
own card. But anyway, this card says there is so much magic around you and in everything. More importantly, there is magic inside of you. Know, remember, and tap into it. You have the power to create anything you want or need. So basically, if you have like a laundry list of like what the qualities you want in a guy at the age of like 8, have at it. Focus your energy and set your intentions. Make magic happen. Don't just hope that things work out. Ensure that they do. Remember to also do your part. Take the time to visualize a clear and distinct path as well as the next steps in your spiritual journey. Connect with, thank, and work in unison with the greater energies. Harness the magic and power that resides within, and when ready, release it to combine with the great universal energies. So it's like releasing those rose petals to the moon,
That's right.
putting out your call to the universe.
Let go and let God.
Exactly. And you will attract what does it say? Like attracts like. What you are focusing on, that's what you will attract. So the mantra at the bottom of this card says, I have the power to create and visualize my destiny. So that's the Almas Veritas card. Yeah. Gary. I'm just thinking of SpongeBob. Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same wavelength here.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for the card. I wrote it down. We're good to go. So, and we would be remiss. Here we go. We're going to talk about Saint Valentine. And I'm not sure if many people know the origins of this story, saint. But growing up, Valentine's Day in a Catholic school was like a weird mesh. But
Really?
it was also very stressful, like giving out those Valentines, and sometimes you don't always get a Valentine from everybody, and it's like, what the hell did I do wrong?
Right.
You didn't do nothing wrong. You didn't do nothing wrong. But you know who did do something wrong?
Who? Saint Valentine.
Saint Valentine's.
Oh, by the way, I was gonna reference that scene from Mean Girls, the scene where he's like, "You go, Glen Coco," or
is
something.
it really?
And then, because like Glen Coco wasn't officially cast in Mean Girls, but he inspired the memorable 2000s movie quote. It was supposed to be played by actor David Reel, but I guess he was never put in the movie.
Okay.
It's a minor character in Mean Girls. Even though his character doesn't serve the plot in any way, a single quote from Damian Lee made him a fan favorite.
Okay.
So Glenn makes his first and only appearance in one of the classes where Damien, dressed as Santa, was handing out candy canes, with Coco receiving 4 of them. Damien's hilarious reaction became a huge hit on social media websites and even after a decade since the movie's release. So yeah, I guess Glen Coco got like 4 candy canes. So he's like, "You go, Glen Coco," and then he's like, "And none for Gretchen Wieners." And then he leaves.
Dude, I thank you for putting it in perspective, because I always thought it was like using like a pop star name or like a fake celebrity name, like a Trixie Mattel name. Like, "You go, Glen Coco." Like, I thought it was like a Trixie Mattel kind of person.
No, it's just a student at the Mean Girls High School that got 4 candy canes and Gretchen Wieners got 0.
I love that.
Lacey Chabert, and she's just like sitting there like all sad that she didn't get any candy canes.
Oh, cute.
It's hilarious.
I'll tell you what. I don't know. Valentine's Day was very stressful for me. Getting a candy cane, giving a candy cane. I remember getting like the really cute like Disney Valentines, like the Pocahontas ones or the Mulan ones, filling them out. So let's talk about Saint Valentine. And this, some of this information is from NPR.org and some of it's from CNN. But here we go. It says, from February 13th to the 15th, the Romans celebrated the feast of Lupercalia. The men sacrificed a goat and a dog, then whipped women with the hides of the animals they had just slain. Right? Ugh. Another little portion of this was that they didn't whip them, but the priests would like slice a portion of their hide off and like anoint themselves on the forehead and then like stick it to the other ladies, like put it on the other women. Very weird.
How romantic.
I know. The Roman romantics were drunk. They were naked, Noel Linsky, now a religious studies professor at Yale University, told NPR in 2011. Young women would line up for the men to hit them, Linsky said. They believed this would make them fertile.
Whoa.
So I'm guessing hitting them with the hide.
Okay.
The brutal fete included a matchmaking lottery in which young men drew the names of women from a jar. The couple would then be coupled up for the duration of the festival or longer if the match was right. The ancient Romans may also be responsible for the name of the modern day of love. Emperor Claudius II executed 2 men, both named Valentine, on February 14th of different years in the 3rd century. Their martyrdom was honored by the Catholic Church and with the celebration of St. Valentine's Day. One Valentine had been persecuted by the Emperor Claudius II, Gothicus. How dope is that name?
I love it.
After he refused to worship the Roman gods. While in prison, he signed a letter that said, "From your Valentine," to a woman he allegedly healed from blindness. Around the same time, a priest named St. Valentine of Terni went against the emperor's orders and secretly married young, swooning couples. Emperor Gothicus, however, believed unmarried men made better soldiers. Nothing to love, less to lose. Gothicus executed him on February 14th, around 269 AD. Since he died for the sin of arranging marriages, his death is remembered as a day of love. Later, Pope Gelasius muddled things in the 5th century by combining St. Valentine's Day with Lupercalia to expel the pagan rituals. But the festival was more than a theatrical interpretation of what it had once been. Linsky added it was a little more of a drunken revel, but the Christians put clothes back on it. That didn't stop it from being a day of fertility and love.
That didn't keep them from dancing.
That didn't keep them from dancing. Dude, that's so funny. Around the same time, the Normans celebrated Galatine's Day? Galati, like Galentine's Day. Galatine's
Oh,
Day. Galatine meant lover of women. That was likely confused with St. Galentine. See, there I go. Confused with St. Valentine's Day at some point, in part because they sounded alike. As the years went on, the holiday grew sweeter. Chaucer and Shakespeare romanticized it in their work, and it had gained popularity throughout Britain and the rest of Europe. Handmade paper cards became tokens du jour in the Middle Ages. Eventually, the tradition made its way to the New World. The Industrial Revolution ushered in factory-made cards in the 19th century, and in 1913, Hallmark Cards of Kansas City, Missouri began mass-producing Valentines, and February has never been the same.
Well, that evolved.
Wow.
Crazy.
It's funny how a lot of the time death, and we go on later in the next section when we talk about gods and goddesses of love, death and love back to back almost all the time, you know?
Star-crossed lovers, man. Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
You know? We'll be talking about the Greeks here shortly, so we'll lay out some of their gods and goddesses first, but we're also going to mention some other deities from around the world. So here we go. Ready? We're going to talk these gods and goddesses of love. And these were all found on Twinkle, TWINKL.com, and Wikipedia. So the first one is Eros, Eros, the god of love and desire. Erodes, god of love and fertility. Pothos, god of passion. Emeros, god of intense desire. Anteros, god of reciprocal love. This is a mouthful. Hymeneos, god of marriage. Aphrodite, goddess of beauty and lust. And there's a lot more.
That Hymeneos looks like Hymen, like Hymeneos.
Oh, yeah.
That's a little interesting.
All right, so these are the Roman ones. This is Aurora, Roman equivalent of the Greek Eos. So basically, Roman and Greek mythology, a lot of gods and goddesses in both are synonymous with each other. They just have different names pertaining to whether they're Greek or whether they're Roman. So Aurora is the Roman equivalent of the Greek Eos. Bacchus is the Roman equivalent of the Greek Dionysus. Cupid is the Roman equivalent of the Greek Eros, also called Amor, which means love in Latin. Suadela, Roman equivalent of the Greek Peitho. Venus, Roman equivalent of the Greek Aphrodite. And Voluptas, Roman equivalent of the Greek Hedon. Hedone? Hedon?
I
don't know. There are also gods and goddesses from various other cultures. If you guys want to check out this wiki link, you guys can see the whole list of them. There's just a lot to list, but there's some from Western African Congo, Albanian, Balto-Slavic, Lithuanian. Some of the Egyptian ones are Bastet, a goddess of felines, love, protection, perfume, beauty, and dance. Egyptians are huge on the cats. They just love it. Bes, B-E-S, god of music, love, and dance. Hathor, goddess of love, beauty, and music, originally a sky goddess. And Min, M-I-N, god of reproduction, love, and sexual pleasure. Mesopotamian, we have Inanna, or Ishtar, goddess of sex, love, beauty, wine, and war. I love how they threw wine in there. Like alcohol is synonymous with love and sex.
Right.
Nanaya, goddess of personifying voluptuousness, sexuality, and sensuality. In the Slavic culture, we have Dagoda, the Polish spirit of the west wind, associated with love and gentleness. How the fuck do you say this word?
Zhyzhylia?
Zhyzhylia. It's spelled Dzylya, the Polish goddess of love and marriage and of sexuality and fertility. Sebog, god of love and marriage. Shiva, goddess of love and fertility. Lada, goddess of beauty and fertility. Yarilo. Yarilo is the god of fertility and springtime, sometimes regarded as god of lust and passion. Then we have Celtic tradition. We have, I don't even know how to say Celtic. Is this Ain, Irish goddess of love, summer, wealth, and sovereignty, possibly originally a sun goddess. Bronwen, Welsh goddess of love and beauty, and Cleona, which I have some ties to Cleona, which is the Irish goddess. Irish goddess, sometimes identified as goddess of love and beauty, and also Cleona was, I'm pretty sure she was the queen of the banshees.
That's baller.
Yeah, she was like a banshee queen, and she was also tied to a lot of bird imagery. She was also believed to have been a shapeshifter, so some believe that she would like actually turn into a bird, and she would just like, be able to oversee.
That is so sick.
Yeah, when we were writing music for my band Stella Dura, I wrote this whole mythology surrounding a lot of the music, and Cleona was part of that whole story.
That's so cool.
That's the only reason why I know so much about her.
Do you know the Cranberries? You know their song Zombies in Your Head?
Yep.
You know where she starts going like oh.
Yep.
That apparently is like a traditional like Irish singing akin to like the Banshee's Call.
Oh,
I saw a video on it. It's fucking sweet.
That is
because
cool.
she's Irish. She's passed away since, but
yeah.
I was like, is she just doing the vowels? Like, what's going on here? What's happening?
What's her name? Dolores O'Riordan? Is that how you say her last name? O'Riordan? Something like that.
So very interesting.
Song. Great song. I used to cover that song all the time. I freaking love that song. Then we have Norse Germanic. We have Eostra, Germanic dawn goddess.
Freya. And that's our Ostara.
Yep. Freya, goddess of love, sex, beauty. What does that say? Satyr, war, and death. Frigg, goddess of marriage and women. Lofn, goddess who has permission from Frigg to arrange forbidden marriages.
Oh, damn.
And I don't know if I'm saying these right. Siofin, goddess associated with love. And we have, there's also, they're not here, but there's also gods and goddesses of Western Asia, Armenia, Persian, Zoroastrian. And then there's a couple Hindu Vedic ones here. Kamadeva, Hindu god of human love or desire. Rati, consort of Kama, goddess of love, carnal desire, lust, passion, and sexual pleasure, and Ushas, Hindu dawn goddess. Asian Pacific and Oceanic gods, Filipino, Far East Asia, Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, Central American, and Caribbean gods and goddesses.
Almost every culture has a love figure, love goddess, god. In that respect, right?
Well, love is the universal language. So yeah, there's one in every culture you can possibly imagine. If you guys want to do your own research, we'll leave the source links for this down below if you want to look up any of the ones from your own culture.
Yeah.
But you probably already know them.
But it never hurts to broaden your education. Keep on learning, right?
Yeah.
That is what I did with this next article. Okay, so this article
is this your beast of the book that you sent me?
It's a beast. This is by Harry E. Weddick, and it's called Love Potions Through the Ages, a study of amatory devices and mores. So buckle up.
Amatory devices. Are we talking like vibrators?
No, we're not. I had to look up what amatory meant because I did not know. And it's amatory means relating to or included by sexual love or desire, or inducing sexual. Let me say that again.
So I'm not too far off.
You're not too far off. Yeah, relating to or induced by sexual love or desire. The
Okay.
love potion, basically.
Oh, potions. I thought you were talking about like devices, like, physical devices for
No.
love making.
We might have some of that thrown in. I'm not really
All right.
sure. There's a lot of
All right, I'll
just
let you
talking
take
about
this
the
one.
Greeks. We're gonna talk a little bit. I know we're gonna have some stumbling and fumbling because there's a lot of Latin and Greek in this. So
I like how you have here, you're like, buckle up. You put it in highlighted in green. Buckle up, everybody.
there's
Here
a
we
lot.
go.
I did not know this. So Harry Weddick, huge. This thing is huge. I think it's actually a book. Like I
Okay.
said, it's about 300 some pages, but it just documents from like the beginning of time.
I'm like,
aphrodisiacs.
I'm just scrolling now. There's so much.
There's a lot. So we'll read through it and I'll leave it up to your judgment what you want to leave in editing.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
So the term filter itself, filter in this regard is PHILTRE, stems from the Greek philtron, a love potion, from philein, PHILEIN, to love, and tron, an instrumental suffix. It means then a love charm. The term potion is derived immediately from the Latin potio, a draught, whether of medicine or even poison. The ultimate source is the Greek potos, a drink. In a general sense, therefore, a love filter or potion is a concoction usually in liquid form, but not necessarily so, intended to produce or promote amatory sensibilities. Okay. Xenocrates, a Greek physician of the 1st century AD, as Pliny the Elder records, advised drinking the sap of mallows as a love potion. Such a filter, together with 3 mallow roots tied into a bunch, would inflame the erotic passions of women. There was a plant called satyrion in the time of the Greeks and Romans. Ancient people thought it was a great aphrodisiac, and the writers like Petronius mentioned it in his Satyricon, a satirical novel, as an easy way to get aroused. The name satyrion is evidently associated with the Greek satyr, a wood spirit, part goat. Is this Danny
that be
DeVito
like
coming back around?
Wait, what?
Did you see Hercules, the Disney movie? Danny DeVito is the voice of Phil, the satyr.
Oh, we talked
Oh.
about this on a previous episode, I feel like.
Yeah.
So would that be like a fawn?
No, he's got the body of a goat and like the top of a human.
What's a fawn?
A fawn is a baby deer.
A baby deer. Oh, okay.
Like I think a girl deer.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
I mean like a fawn, like in a mythological sense. It's like half human, that's half human, half deer?
I've never
Ever
heard
seen-
of a.
Wait, what? Have you ever seen Narnia? The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe? The fawn? Mr. Tumnus?
Oh, they call him he's the one with the scarf, right?
Yeah, but isn't he part goat?
He is part goat.
Or is he part deer?
Oh,
Now
I
you
don't
have
know.
me wondering. This whole all these years I thought he was a goat, but now you're making me wonder if a
Is
fawn
he a
is a baby
deer?
deer, it would make sense for Mr. Tumnus to be part deer, not part goat. But now I'm like, wait, what?
We'll have to look.
I
That
gotta
up.
go look it up. All right, okay, go ahead, go on.
So
go on.
yeah, I think of satyrs as like Danny DeVito.
Okay,
And he's got the goat body.
that's such like a funny quote to take out of context. I think of Danny DeVito as a satyr. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. Attendants to the rustic god Pan, the satyrs were known as bestial and lustful creatures, symbolic of the basic sexual passions of man. Botanically, satyrion is a plant with smooth leaves, red tinted, and equipped with 2-fold roots. The lower part of the root was credited anciently with promoting male conception, while the other part was conducive to female. Remarkable properties were attributed to the root of satyrion. When it was dissolved in goat's milk, the erotic effect was so vigorous and urgent that, as the Greek philosopher Theophrastus asserted in his inquiry into plants, this potion once gave us 70 sexual sessions in a row.
Say that 5 times fast. 70
Wait,
seconds
so they
fast.
had 70 like successful sexual sessions in a row?
That's a
God
lot of
damn.
sex.
That's a lot of sex. Greek mythology is loaded with references to satyrion as an effective stimulant. The prowess of Hercules, the lusty warrior, as the Roman Petronius Albiter Elegantrium calls him. That's exhausting. Who wrote this goddamn paper?
Harry Wet Dick. I don't know.
is attested in amatory sense by the story of his visit to a certain Thespius. Entertained lavishly as a guest, Hercules, fortified by Satyrion, repaid the host's entertainment by having intercourse with all 50 daughters of Thespius.
So that was like a full-on orgy. Holy shit.
Wow.
That's a lot of
Your
daughters.
That's a lot of daughters.
In ancient tribal societies, women were in charge of passing down the knowledge of love and fertility. They were the keepers of the secrets of procreation and were seen as sacred. As time went on and writing became more common, stories and legends often focused on wise women and witches who knew all about the intimate stuff. As cultures developed, like in Greece, even everyday people and famous thinkers knew about these women and their knowledge of love. Did it say in was it Book of Magic that only, or was it Rules of Magic, they consider women who knew how to read witches? Like, why do they know that all of that information?
Yeah.
So in Greek mythology, there's a story about a man named Phaon, Phaon, who was a ferryman on the island of Lesbos. Lesbos? Lesbos?
Yeah, Lesbos.
Lesbos. Aphrodite, the goddess of love, gave him a powerful charm that made him more attractive. The famous poet Sappho fell in love with him because of this charm. Pliny the Elder, a Roman historian, wrote that Phaon found a special root that looked like a penis, and it was said to guarantee love from women. However, Sappho was so heartbroken over Phaon that she threw herself off a cliff on the island of Leucadia. This story is also told in Ovid's Heroides. Sexual and procreative capacity was such a primal, essential factor in the old religious cults that in classical mythology, Greek and Roman, and in Egyptian and Asian cults as well, the bull, the most potent among animals, was a ceremonial and pictorial symbol of this cosmic power. The bull, in fact, was equated with divinity. In Egypt, he appears as Apis, A-P-I-S, the bull god. He is also present with the Mithraic cult, and Mithra himself is sculpturally represented as holding a bull and cutting its throat. The bull was an expiatory sacrifice among the Germanic tribes and also among the Northmen. In the Orient, too, the bull is sacred among the Japanese. Cows also have been no less venerated among the Greeks, the Hebrews, and the Hindus. An ancient Egyptian device for achieving amatory efficiency involves a magic procedure. Take a band of linen of 16 threads, 4 of them white, 4 green, 4 blue, 4 red. Fasten all strands into one band and strain with hoopoe blood. What's hoopoe blood? Bind with scarab, posed as the sun god wrapped in Byssus, B-Y-S-S-U-S. Bind the body of the boy attendant who holds the sacred vessel. So is that like some kind of sacrifice? What the fuck? In ancient Greece and Rome, it was common to find lower class sex workers in places like barbershops, perfumeries, taverns, and baths. They would also, bathhouses are still very popular in Greece. Did you know that?
Interesting. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
I remember when like me and Avi were gonna go on our honeymoon, I was actually looking up bathhouses. I was like, wonder what it's like to go. We never went, but I was like researching them.
Okay.
They would often pretend to be musicians or singers, but their main job was to provide sexual services, which is kind of the opposite in Japanese culture. If you've like heard of a geisha is oftenly mistaken as a prostitute, but they were not prostitutes. They were actually entertainers. Did you ever see that movie? Memoir of a Geisha? Oh, it's so good. Watch it. It's so good. So there are many detailed descriptions of these types of prostitutes, their lifestyle, and their future in texts like Lucian's dialogues of the courtesans and Alciphron's fictional letters. Poets also wrote about these women, and their work can be found in collections such as the Greek Anthology and the Palatine Anthology. In the collection called The Girdle of Aphrodite, there are pieces that deal with themes like Lolita and describe the actions of a masseuse, as well as others that reflect on love and its costs. Isn't Lolita about like that man falls in love with an underage girl and it's like really creepy?
Yeah, it is real creepy.
Yeah. So anyway, going on, the Greek poet Theocritus, circa 310 to 250 BC, right as about the maiden Samatha, who is in love with Delphis, who has abandoned her. She attempts to regain his love by performing certain magic rites and making invocations to Selene, Aphrodite, and Hecate. She fashions a wax image of Delphis and, by sympathetic magic, anticipates the melting of his heart in correspondence with the melting of the image. In addition, she makes use of the magic wheel, and her refrain throughout the performance is, "My magic wheel, draw home to me the man I love." Intertwined with these rituals is the further refrain addressed to Selene, the moon goddess. "Bethink thee of my love, and whence it came, my lady moon." In Greek mythology, Andromache, the wife of the Trojan warrior Hector, was accused by Hermione, wife of Neoptolemus, of gaining his love by means of love potions. Euripides, the tragic poet, circa 485 to 406 BC, refers to the situation of his drama Andromache, "Not of my philtre thy lord hatteth thee, but that thy nature is no mate for his. That is the love charm, woman, 'tis not beauty, that witcheth bridegrooms, nay, but nobleness."
That was sweet.
Right?
Great.
So throughout history, people have experimented with different foods in attempt to find aphrodisiacs, or substances that can increase sexual desire. This has led to a wide range of knowledge passed down through oral tradition and eventually written down about foods, ingredients, and practices that can boost male sexual vitality and fertility. Examples of such foods include anchovies, onion soup, herring roe, bleh, milk pudding, and angel water, whatever the hell that is. Distilled spirits like musk and ambergris were also believed to have aphrodisiac properties. Some people believe that even things like the genitalia of a stag had aphrodisiac qualities, and there were also foods like cakes and pastries shaped like genitals, chocolate, ice cream, and pills made from vegetable extracts. Burgundy and richly garnished game were also believed to have aphrodisiac properties. A Portuguese potion that was in frequent use in the 18th century consisted of a pint of rose water shaken together with a pint of orange flower water and half pint of myrtle water. To this were added 2/3 of spirit of ambergris and 2/3 of distilled spirit of musk. The result was reputedly a potent concoction.
That doesn't
Asiatic
sound
race-
too bad.
No, rose water. I can get down with some rose and orange
Compared to what is like what else they had coming. Like that's the most
like cow balls.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds very pleasant compared to the former stuff we were talking about. Asiatic races were long known for their sexual prowess, hence the West, through travelers and explorers and adventurers, was eager to acquire such knowledge in its own interests. In the case of the Asiatic Tartars, there were accounts of their strange practices. In one instance, they used 170 of the membrum of the wild horse for its reputed high content of vital fluid. Ugh. The genitalia of the stag itself, considered an extreme libidinous animal, were similarly regarded. And I don't know how much this goes on about sexually charged foods, but don't they say that oysters, like raw
I've heard that
oysters,
too.
are also an aphrodisiac? And I've also heard that I think bull's testicles
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
aren't they called? Well, maybe no, maybe they're not.
Maybe that's
I'm,
just like oral tradition like this, you know?
well, maybe I'm lumping it in with like they call bull's testicles Rocky Mountain oysters. So maybe
That's
I'm
right.
just,
Yeah, they do.
maybe I'm just making a connection because the oyster thing.
So sometimes the ingredients were abominable and repulsive in character. So animal and human excrement and the genitalia were frequently brought under contribution. Not rarely, exotic spices were garnered, or leaves from trees that grew in the distant regions, or objects otherwise difficult to obtain. Hair or nail parings, or even more intimate and less mentionable items from the human body. The traditions associated with the ingredients were manifestly read and studied and pondered over and memorized through the ages, and subsequently transmitted to later centuries. So that by the Middle Ages, they had been accumulated an immense reservoir of available constituents. Human and animal matter, herb, genitalia, liquefied elements, excrement of ox and pig, wolf, goat, dog, and goose, of sheep, hen, mice, pigeon, and cow, to ensure the validity of the potion. there would be a bewitchment of the entire compound and accompanied by a certain formal ritual. Formulas would be inscribed on certain vials and objects. Frog bones were popular in this regard. The mandrake, that mystical root that is associated with sinister human origins and characteristics. The plant that was supposedly endowed with the male and female properties was a popular ingredient in the love potion. Bryony, a genus of flowering plant in the gourd family, was long used for the purpose, and in later days, tobacco as well. Entrails of animals were no rarity. The more repellent the object, the more salacious and lewd and what? The more salacious
We're learning
and
words
lewd.
today. Wait, hold on. What is I need to know what this
Priapic.
is. Priapic. Relating
Successful?
to or resembling a phallus.
Oh, okay.
Priapic.
Okay.
In medicine, it's having a persistently erect penis.
Oh, dang. We're going to leave all that in. Okay, so
We
lewd
are
and
learning
priapic
things.
would be the effect. For the gasping, excited recipient, nothing was too foul, nothing too obnoxious, nothing too horrendous. What did
This is a
matter
lot.
was its aphrodisiac value, hence the powdered heart of the roasted hummingbird, and its potency, or the liver of a sparrow.
There you
The
go,
kidney,
sparrow.
the kidney
Didn't
of
they
the
talk about the
hare.
sparrow in was it Book of Magic? Rules of Magic. Wait a minute. Didn't she kill a bird for her own benefit? Was it a sparrow? She put it into the pie to
Ooh.
make for Hathorn. And remember at the end,
I think you're right.
the
I
end
think
of
you're
that
right.
book, Faith was the very first one who started the tradition of chasing the sparrow out of the house with the broom, right?
The remember me pie or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
The liver of a sparrow, the kidney of a hare was a frequent addition to the sum total of decayed and decaying tissue, or the womb of a swallow that itself required minute preparation was a prompt aid. Human blood came into the picture, and the human heart and the fingers, as well as the viscera, excrement, and urine, brain and skin and marrow. Even the Roman poets gave a literary shudder at the mention, and in the medieval chroniclers and encyclopedists, there is equally a sense of repulsion yet attraction. For love and passion generated from death and offal.
Right, I'll
Look that one up.
Yeah. What is...
Hey, you guys want a podcast where two girls learn new words?
We learn words.
OFFAL.
Offal or offal, also called variety meats. Pluck or
Ew.
organ meats is the organs of a butchered animal.
Okay. All right.
It does not refer to a particular list of edible organs, which varies by culture and region, but usually excludes muscle.
Gross.
Yeah.
All right. So this and the desire sprang from decay.
Sappho, that ancient Greek poetess of Lesbos, knew the supremacy of this passion. She called Aphrodite deathless because love and life are co-evil and co-existent. The sweetest thing of all, she declares in one of her pieces, is to find one's lover. Ages later, Titus Lucretius Carus, the Roman Epicurean poet who in the 1st century BC produced that remarkable profound epic De Renum Natura, The Nature of Things, begins this poem with an invocation to fostering Venus, the delight of men and of gods. Thessaly, a region in ancient Greece, was known for its association with sorcery and magic. The region had a reputation for being a source of necromancy and other forms of black magic, and it was believed that the witches of Thessaly were particularly skilled in the preparation of love potions. As we know, necromancy, that's the practice of working with the dead.
Yes. I always
whether
heard it
that's
was like
summoning
bringing
the
the
dead?
dead back to life.
Right,
Like
right.
summoning the dead. Yeah.
Summoning the dead to kind of do your bidding. For example, we have Sleepy Hollow, the movie where the witch at the end, she summons the horseman to do her bidding and killing everybody in the town. Then also, did you end up watching Wednesday?
I did, yeah.
Spoilers for anybody who watched this, fast forward this part. But Christina Ricci's character brings back that, I don't know, what was he, a judge or something from the 1600s? To do her bidding. Yeah. So I
they
guess
also have it in like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
They have a
necromancy is a very popular trope in fantasy literature.
Mhm.
Anyway, Thessaly was also known for its necromancy, a practice of communicating with the dead. This reputation for magic was so widespread and deeply embedded in the culture of the region that it continued well into the Roman imperial age. Many ancient Greek writers such as Sophocles and Menander, as well as later poets such as Tibullus, Propertius, Ovid, Virgil, Horace, and Lucan, reference the Salian witches in their works. works. In mythological contexts, certain divinities such as Hecate and certain sorceresses and warlocks were associated with rejuvenative powers, which is interesting because in Practical Magic, the movie, we see them invoke, they say Hecate, but we know they're talking about Hecate. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to rejuvenate, bring Jimmy back from the dead.
Necromancy.
Also necromancy, exactly.
Full circle.
All connected. Blah. One notable figure in this category is the ancient witch Medea. She is known for her dark techniques, magical charms, potions, and incantations, which were believed to have the power to restore masculine virility and potency. Medea, whose name means the cunning one in Greek, is often depicted as the ultimate witch, able to renew the youthful vigor of Aeson by boiling him in special herbs, as described by the Roman poet Ovid in Book 7 of the Metamorphoses. In Euripides' play, Medea, she makes claims and promises of her ability to recreate Aegeus, the aged king of Athens, and bestow virility on him through her secret philters. And then is this like a play?
Yeah, it's a little excerpt.
All right, so Medea says, I am undone, and more than that, am banished from the land. Aegeus says, by whom? Fresh woe this word of mine unfolds. Medea says, Creon drives me forth in exile from Corinth. Aegeus, doth Jason allow it? This too I blame him for. Is he talking about Jason and the Argonauts?
He is. Oh my God, this makes so much sense. So Medea, have you ever seen the old Jason and the Argonauts?
Yeah,
like
man.
The really old one?
With the stop animation. I used to watch it with my dad all the freaking time.
That was the first time I'd ever seen any like pagan ritual. And like like Medea is talking to Hecate. Like I always remember her like in a trance and like the triple head, has the front face and the two faces on the side.
Yeah.
Great movie. Great movie.
It is.
I love it. That's like one of my hangover movies. Like just pop that on.
It's cozy. It's his cozy movie. Cozy old movie.
Yes. Jason from the Argonauts. Yes.
Got it. All right. So Medea says, not in words, but he will not stand out against it. Oh, I implore thee by this beard and by thy knees in suppliant posture. Pity, oh, pity my sorrows. Do not see me cast forth forlorn, but receive me in thy country to a seat within thy halls. So may thy wish by heaven's grace be crowned with a full harvest of offspring, and may thy life close in happiness. Thou knowest not the rare good luck, though thou findest here, for I will make thy childlessness to cease, and cause thee to beget fair issue, so potent are the spells I know.
You're really good at that. And see.
All right.
That was just a little snippet of that huge
300-page book.
It will be linked. There was so much more. Much more. Yeah. It was fascinating and very difficult to read, but Justina nailed it.
We beasted that.
Nailed it.
So we're going to get into talking about, I guess, real love potion recipes from medieval times, some using human cadavers and animal remains, stuff from like, the 16th century. We are at this point in time a little more civilized. So we don't really do these things anymore, but if Christina, you want to take us through some of these, and this is from ranker.com. We'll link it below. Yeah,
and these are the like disgusting concoctions I guess people did back in the day, and like you said, we know a little better, and we know about getting sick and bacterias.
This first line has your favorite word in it.
What?
Orifice.
Orifice. Sweet, man. All right. Medieval. So this is called medieval love cake involving sweating into your dough from every orifice. I should say it from orifice. Love potions were generally ingested, which makes the ingredients of this medieval era love cake disgusting.
That is disgusting.
If someone wanted to make a person fall in love with them, they would bake a cake while not wearing any clothes and then rub the dough on every single orifice in order to absorb their sweat into the cake. And yes, this includes their armpits and their private parts. They would then feed the finished cake to their crush, who would fall head over heels in love with them thanks to the power of their sweat. Fucking nasty. Ooh. Don't do that.
Oh my God. Dude, did you ever see the new Jackass movie? What was it, 4.0 or something like that? There's a scene where they take this very obese man and they take sushi and they saran wrap the sushi, like they tuck it into some of his folds. and they saran wrap it and they make him work out. And then at the end,
Ew.
the rest of them have to eat that workout sushi.
Fuck these guys. That's disgusting.
Disgusting.
You said watching that as an adult, it's like a whole new. At first, when you're a kid, you're like, "Oh, that's fucking sick," and as an adult, you're like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
that's nasty."
Yeah, so
Ooh.
gross.
So one potion required human cadavers. As popular as animal remains were in potions, human cadavers were more taboo, but still utilized. There is a game for Switch that it's called Graveyard Keeper, and you're basically like a medieval like graveyard keeper. It's very calming. The music's great, but like you get cadavers and you can choose to embalm them like different ways, or you can choose to harvest the meat and sell it back to the townspeople.
That is so Sweeney Todd.
It's awesome. It's a really
love
great
that.
game. So these include bone smashed into powder, hair, and the menstrual blood. The potions allegedly work best if the ingredients were from both romantic parties involved. One specific recipe called for the spleen and bone marrow of a murdered boy. So sometimes these things got pretty specific. The use of menstrual blood in numerous love potions hints at the fact that it was mostly women who used love potions, and some ended up being convicted of witchcraft as a result.
It says a variety of animal remains were incredibly popular, especially Spanish fly.
Ew.
Animal products of all sorts were used in love potions all across the world, according to History Answers. Recipes called for sparrow heads, deer heart, the droppings of a stork, fat of a snake, brain of sparrow, testicles of a donkey, bones from a left side of a toad, which has been devoured by ants. That's so specific.
So specific.
Blood and heart of a pigeon, and bat's blood in beer. The most popular animal used in potions was the Spanish fly or the blister beetle.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah, does a blister beetle look anything like a coffin cutter? Usage of Spanish fly dates back to Hippocrates. According to Latin chroniclers, the ingredient was considered a powerful aphrodisiac and was crushed and put into numerous potions, which were incredibly popular at the courts of Roman Emperor Augustus. Spanish fly is actually quite dangerous and can cause permanent kidney and liver damage. Interesting.
Wow. Yeah, they are like an emerald green beetle in the blister beetle family. They're pretty. They're really pretty.
So it doesn't look anything like a
No.
like a Death Watch beetle. Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. It's
yeah,
gross.
yeah.
It's cool.
Cool. I've seen nicer bugs in my day. Whatever. Fuck off. No.
Wow.
The next one says blood and insects were the 16th century French equivalent of an aphrodisiac. It seems the more complicated the recipe, the more effective the results. One 17th century French potion required various love potions to contain a mixture of Spanish fly, herbs, and menstrual blood. Spanish flies were considered a common aphrodisiac used by women to create love potions for their husbands. Sometimes, if the potions were found to be ineffective, women would turn to simply eliminating their husbands.
Oh,
So eventually remarry for love.
dang. That's
Dang,
rough.
right. Yeah.
So drowning lizards occurred in Nigeria and the Philippines with differing results. One Nigerian recipe, according to Carl Fabricus, involved taking the neck of a lizard, mixing it with fingernails, umbilical cord remains, viper's blood, and witch's hair, and drinking it while it's still boiling hot. Lizards can also be used as an anti-love potion ingredient. When drowned in urine, and then mixed with wine. However, in the Philippines, the drowned lizard is used in love potions. Some Native American tribes used dried lizards or lizard tails and didn't require the lizard to be drowned in urine.
Okay.
Jesus. So worms, bodily fluids, and fire were used by women in Mexico. In 17th century Mexico, a fair amount of women were actually convicted for their use of love potions. They would acquire ingredients from indigenous people and combine herbs, corn, milk, either fried or crushed worms, and bodily fluids. They would prepare the potion and then either rub it on a sleeping man's chest, sneak it into his food, or both. Some of these rituals even require the use of fire and smoke, the origins of which are thought to have come from Spain. Oh, these are
before we move on,
crazy.
I want to see something really quick. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm wondering if that's why tequila has a worm in it, right? Because that's like a Mexican, like a Mexican tradition. Okay, never mind. It has nothing to do with love.
Oh, it would have been cool.
Yeah, it says, "What is the worm in your tequila?" The worm isn't technically a worm. It's a larva of a moth that lived on the agave plant, which is used to produce tequila and mezcal. It says we've all heard the theory of higher proof tequila when a worm has been deposited in the bottle. Legend has it consuming the tequila worm may cause hallucinations, increase your state of drunkenness, blah, blah, blah. Contrary to popular belief, tequila doesn't actually contain the worm. The worm was reserved for mezcal, which is known as tequila's bigger brother.
Cute.
The legend of the worm started in the 50s when the Mexican mezcal maker discovered a moth larvae in a batch of mezcal. The mezcal maker thought the worm's presence actually improved its taste. So was that like the placebo effect? He placed a worm in each bottle as a marketing strategy. Over time, manufacturers followed suit due to its popularity. Today, tequila does not contain a worm in the bottle. In fact, the Mexican Standard Authority prohibits it, but if you do find a bottle, they're usually lower end mezcal.
That is so funny. I like thinking of mezcal, how it's like the older brother, and tequila is like Kyle punching holes in walls, and mezcal is like fancy sitting by the fire, like my stupid ass brother, like kind of like Harry and William, kind of that situation.
Yeah. It's funny.
Oh shit.
But anyway, yeah, I thought it might have that line that you read. I thought it might have had something to do with worm and tequila.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
That's just, okay. Keep that in anyway. It's educational.
It was the marketing ploy. Are we at earthworms?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we have earthworms, which strengthen the relationship between husband and a wife. In the 16th century, a popular book called the Book of Secrets. Wait, what? Secrets
it's
of...
It's just like old school spelling, old-timey spelling.
Oh,
the Book of Secrets.
The Book of Secrets of Albertus Dumbledore. The Book of Secrets of Albertus Magnus of the Virtues of Herbs, Stones, and Certain Beasts, the spelling of that is very Old English, began circulating, giving instructions on how to mix certain herbs and even animals to create love potions. Not all potions were made to make someone fall in love with you, though. Even married couples had use for such concoctions. One recipe in Magnus's book called for periwinkle to be mixed with crushed earthworms, and when put in your spouse's food, the result would be increased affection between a husband and a wife.
It's kind of cute. Yeah. I mean, hopefully the earthworms already did, but periwinkle and earthworms?
How cute. What the fuck? This is such a weird combination. In India, lovers utilized a potentially fatal hallucinogen, the datura plant. There we
go.
Again, folks, the datura plant, isn't that also known as the devil's trumpet? Or more commonly known as thorn apple, aka Jimson weed, aka it keeps coming back to this Jimson weed, is a hallucinogen that can be fatal. Regardless, in India and other places around the world, it was an ingredient in love potions. This herb is considered to be intoxicating while also deadly and invokes intense feelings of seduction. The plant's properties are so powerful that it was even used in South America to induce sleep in women who were to be buried alive with their chieftain husbands. Wow.
What?
That's fucked.
The fuck? Do we need to look more into that? That's quite a story.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting how in the Practical Magic book, how Jimmy, who was known for selling this Jimson weed and killing these college kids, he kind of got his by dying by another intoxicating plant. It was it kind of came full circle for him.
Yeah. And like if you really want to like grasp at straws, like what you would for sure die if you got hit with a cast iron pan, but what if he wasn't? What if that stuff is in his system and he's getting buried alive?
So you're talking about the movie?
Yeah, I'm talking about the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you said to me once that like you thought when Jillian and Sally brought him back from that spell when they were summoning Hecate, and he actually came back, you mentioned that what if he didn't come back from the spell? What if he was still actually alive?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think it's plausible that he could have.
And then the frying pan is what actually killed him.
Right. Yeah.
It's a theory.
Yeah.
That's a theory.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Great. Let's talk about mandrake and how mandrake was used despite their tendency to actually make people go fucking insane. Mandragora. Which, by the way, would be a really pretty girl name.
I do love that name, Mandragora.
I think that's a dope girl name. So mandrake root, perhaps most notable in this day and age for its appearance in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, has been considered an aphrodisiac for centuries, even as far back as biblical times. It has been used frequently in love magic throughout the ages and is even still used for such purposes today. The root can be ingested in potions and worn as an amulet for fertility. I think I'd wear it as an amulet. I'm not eating that shit. The downside of mandrake root is that it allegedly screams when you pull it from the ground to the point where it can cause insanity or even death to those who hear it. I think we'll just have a mandrake episode because that pops up a lot.
Yeah.
And there's so much behind it.
It said the root can be ingested for potions. I thought it was poisonous as well.
Oh, yeah, it is potent. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, like, again, these medieval people are fucking insane. They have a death wish, ingesting all this belladonna and mandragora, all this bullshit.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
Modern scientists look to the culture of ancient love potions to create romance aids. Although the idea of a love potion seems outdated, modern scientists are looking to the past to create a new future. Scientists believe that they can use medicine to modify the parts of the brain that respond to love, meaning a pill could be the next incarnation of Spanish fly mixed with menstrual blood. And like, isn't that like what Viagra is doing anyway?
Yeah. I guess so.
Seeing as how there has been an age-old market for love-inducing and or altering potions, it's not surprising that scientists are looking into using chemistry to enhance relationships in this day and age.
All right. So, anti-love potions were also popular and included bloodletting. As eager as people were for love, some also sought to cure, quote, cure themselves of the perceived ailment. Luckily, there were cures for these needs as well. Some of these cures included bloodletting, drinking a ton of water, and avoiding alcohol and rich food. So, Christina, can you explain what exactly bloodletting is?
I have always heard it as using leeches to be put on the body because they back in the day believed in the humors, and I guess blood was one of the humors, and to release some of that blood, it was getting out like all the bad shit. So they would use leeches or cut you to release some of your blood.
Got it. What do you mean humors? What is that? It said the humoral balance was the basis of illness or health. The four humors being blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile, relating to the four Greek classical elements of air, water, earth, and fire, respectively. That's interesting that the humors actually were elemental associated with the elements as well.
I never knew that.
That is neat. Ancient Greeks consumed a popular ingredient until it went extinct. One plant was especially important to the ancient Greeks looking to create love potions. Satyrion, or Satyrio,
which we talked about earlier.
Yeah, it was an orchid. The orchid was considered a pleasure plant, and when ground into a powder and added to wine, was said to be a potent aphrodisiac that would make whoever consumed it passionately and wildly in love. Satyrion was so popular, people used it until there was literally none left, causing the plant to go extinct. These people were love drunk all the time.
Yeah, horny as shit. Yeah, and just as a refresher, if you haven't listened to our broom magic and lore episode, go check it out because we talk about love a lot in marriage over there, and also our apple magic and lore we just did last week. Go listen to that, but we'll just do a little refresher here.
Yeah, some of our stuff might be a bit redundant, but we're pulling an Alice. We're just tying up loose ends.
We're pulling an Alice.
You get the context, but if you want the full scope, definitely go listen to the full episodes.
Exactly. We're pulling an Alice just in case you missed anything.
Right.
So some broom lore refresher. If somebody's these are superstitions around the world about the broom. If someone sweeps under your feet as an unmarried person, you will never marry. So don't let anybody sweep under your feet if you want to get married. Stand a broom upside down and you will marry soon. In Italy, when a broom falls, someone will marry. In Germany, if you drop a broom, you will get married the same day next year. Wow, quick turnaround. I don't remember that one. In the West African country of Ghana, in the 18th century, brooms were and are waved over the heads of married couples to ward off spirits. The couple would often, but not always, jump over the broom at the end of the ceremony. Jumping over the broom symbolized the wife's commitment and willingness to clean the courtyard of the new home she had joined.
All right, so this is an Apple lore refresher. You guys probably just listened to our Apple lore episode right before this one, but in case you haven't, we'll just go into these. So a symbol of love, the apple is known as the fruit of love and has been used since time immemorial to express affection and passion. In Greek mythology, Dionysus offers apples to Aphrodite in order to win her heart and love. Love magic. In the Encyclopedia of Natural Magic, John Michael Greer notes that apples are in the sign of Venus in Libra and that they were most typically used in love magic or love drawing. Some apple divination, which has a long history, is you might try this age-old ritual traditionally performed on Halloween night because, as we learned in the last episode, apples are the fruit mostly associated with Samhain. To see a vision of your future partner, turn out the lights, light a candle, cut an apple into 9 pieces, and eat 8 of them while gazing into the mirror. Didn't we call this the Bloody Mary spell?
The Bloody Mary of love spells.
The Bloody Mary love spell.
Oh no,
Here's
Kim's gonna
the
come
ninth-
at us with a good meme for that, I hope.
the Bloody Mary. Oh yeah, Kim, do it now. Go. Pierce the 9th piece with your paring knife and hold it over your shoulder. The apparition of your future partner is said to appear to you and take it. Again, with the number 9.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Right? Apple love spell. Apples have long been used for love spells. Create an anointing oil to call your soulmate to you or to enhance an existing love. On the night of the new moon, put 8 dried apple blossom petals into a small pretty bottle. Cover them with a carrier oil like fractionated coconut oil or another skin-friendly oil. Gently shake the bottle each day, envisioning the qualities you desire in your mate or the feeling that you wish to be enhanced between you and your existing lover. Notice how it says existing.
Yes.
So not
Specifically.
fucking with someone's free will. Like the feelings are already there and mutual. You're just enhancing them with this. Okay.
Yes. Consent.
So, consensual, exactly. On the eve of the full moon, anoint your heart center with the liquid to open it and draw your soulmates to you or enhance the bond with your lover. A note on ethics. Keep in mind that love spells should never involve coercion, but rather work with existing feelings between 2 consenting partners. And going back to, did we talk about the Snow White and like how like the prince kisses her with like she's sleeping, so it can't be consensual? Did we? I feel like we
Yeah.
touched on that.
We
Well,
did.
have you ever watched Euphoria?
No, I've heard of it.
It's on HBO Max. It's with Zendaya, and basically her and this girl Jules are in this relationship, and they do a whole bit like it turns like cartoon for a second, and it shows like she like writes a note to her, and it goes into the cartoon bit, and like Zendaya is the prince and Jules is Snow White, and she's like sleeping. And it like like she writes this letter to her, and she was like, she says something about it kissing her like while she's sleeping because it's not consensual or something like that. And I was like, oh my god, that's so weird. Like we were just talking about that.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I heard it's a crazy show.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. Me and Avi are watching it right now.
Oh Lord.
We didn't think we'd be into it because it's like about like high schoolers, but
Mhm.
dude, it's scandalous. It's fucking good. You should watch it.
Scandalous. Okay.
All right, we're gonna talk about some old wives' tales. Then we're
Okay.
gonna take another break. Wait
I
a
think we should
minute,
do-
Christina. You have to explain. You have to explain this. All right, these old wives' tales are from refinery29.com. But is this part of the article? It says "listen for the cock." What does that mean?
It sure is. You ready? So listen for the cock. It's an old
Tell-
German superstition.
Oh shit.
You ready?
Yeah, tell us. I need to know.
So the old German superstition held that should a virgin wish to know if she will be married in the year, she should go out to the chicken coop on Christmas Eve and knock on the door. And if she hears a rooster crow, she will. If she hears a hen instead, she won't. So listen for the cock. There you go.
They had me at cock. I was like, what?
No. Oh.
Explain this, please. All right. In Russia, a bouquet of yellow flowers means anything but love. Interesting. That
Yellow
Jet
no
was-
bueno.
Jet liked yellow daffodils. She liked daffodils. Does that mean
Mhm.
something? Supposedly, this color symbolizes infidelity, and even if no one has been unfaithful yet, exchanging yellow flowers is believed to curse the relationship anyway. Holy shit.
No.
Is that why Levi shit the bed? For the
cursed.
record, yeah, for the record, if you think your partner may be cheating, it probably won't be a bunch of flowers that tips you off. All right.
So, it says this wedding tradition that is still practiced widely dates as far back as the 14th century England. Single female wedding guests would literally tear away pieces of the bride's dress and bouquet in hopes that some of her luck in love would transfer to them. Sounds like harmless fun. Usually the bride would just throw her entire bouquet to the guests, which is still done, so that she could get away. With time, this became the bouquet toss that we know today. And it's now believed that the woman who catches it will be the next one to marry. marry. We can take or leave this tradition as it is today, but we sure are glad brides don't end their special day in ripped dresses anymore.
The next one. This very specific superstition comes from the Nebraskan folklore, which says that if you encounter 99 horses, there's the 9 again,
Oh,
and
dang.
one white mule, then shake a man's hand. That man will be your future husband. Again, oddly specific. Whether that means that you will fill your stable with horses and one mule, or you just happen to see them passing by one day, we suppose that's up to the gods of fate.
So specific. That's a lot of goddamn horses.
Like, what are the
Ugh.
chances? I guess because, like, what are the chances of that? Like, if that does happen, then fuck yeah, then this shit's going down. All right.
So this talks about the he loves me not. So this game, sometimes called the Daisy Oracle, which I've never heard it called that, goes all the way back to medieval times, and it is about as simple as love superstitions get. You pluck a petal and say he or she loves me. Pluck another and say he or she loves me, and repeat. Whichever one you end on when you run out of petals should be taken as the absolute truth about that person's feelings for you. The oracle became so prominent that it's even got a shout out in Goethe's Faust in the 1800s. Some say it's specifically French in its origins, but it's hard to say if that's true or just yet another old wives' tale.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. How many of us did that when we were kids? He loves me.
Oh,
he
yeah.
loves me not.
Oh, absolutely.
This next one says, sneak a piece of wedding cake home, sleep with it under your pillow. So that sounds very messy. Or under your bed, and you're sure to dream of your future spouse. So goes yet another wedding-related superstition for single people. But for married folk, I don't know, Christina, did you do this? Did you save the top tier of your wedding cake and then you eat it the first anniversary of your wedding to ensure like a marriage of...
I think it was frozen. I don't think we ever ate it. Maybe that's why I'm divorced. I don't think we ever ate ours.
Did you do that with Aaron?
We eloped. We didn't have a wedding cake.
All right. Yeah, me and Avi did that with our wedding topper, and we ate it the following year. It was absolutely disgusting. Even though it was frozen for a year, like the fondant, like it's just like, oh, gross.
Tradition's tradition, though. You got to do it.
We did it. We took like maybe a couple bites, but we were like, this shit's nasty. Thrown out. But then there is a Italian superstition, which is bizarrely literal in its meaning. If you're single, this goes back to the broom stuff, broom lore. If you're single, never let a broom sweep across your feet, because then you'll never have the chance to be swept off your feet by a long-term partner.
This next bit, this is a book actually, and it is called Veiled Remarks, a Curious Compendium of the Nuptially Inclined by Melissa Anderson Swayze. And you can find it on Amazon. We will link it. But a few little tidbits we pulled out of there. Oh yeah, it mentions kind of what we touched on in our Apple episode. So I'm just going to reiterate that here. So this is a curious compendium for the nuptially inclined, and it's an illustrated assortment of fun facts, tidbits, gewgaws on quite fascinating, often bizarre, sometimes bloody, completely true history of matrimony. So it says, number 1, make the foot of the bed before the head, or else, my dear, you'll never be wed.
Huh.
How about that?
Never heard of that one. That's a good thing. My bed is never made. What does that mean?
Oh, yeah? That you are content and happily married.
All right. I like it.
It says, peel an apple in its entirety from top to bottom, then throw the peel over your shoulder. When it lands on the floor, look for the shape of a letter. It will be the letter of your future husband. And then another one is, throw a shoe over your shoulder. If the point is facing the door, you will marry within a year.
This is the very last section we have, and then we're going to take another quick break. These are some Ukrainian wives' tales about finding love, and this is from the adventures of Katie.com. If a girl leaves her house on Christmas Eve and hears her dogs barking, the direction of the barking is where her future husband is said to be.
That's cute.
That's interesting, because Sally had all those dogs around her. Do you think they were leading her to Mike? Well, she was running to Michael, but do you think like she kind of like,
that,
I don't know.
I could see that melding together nicely. I know what you're getting at.
Also, it's interesting that Michael has this affiliation with dogs, don't you think?
Yeah, the black-eyed dog.
The black-eyed dog, the dogs following Sally, leading her to him. Mm-hmm. It's very strange. Very strange. Okay.
Interessant, no.
This reminds me of you saying Kumadana. Ivan Kupala.
It's Ivana Kupala. Sorry,
Ivana Kupala.
There you go.
You want to tell us about Ivana Kupala?
So, Ivana Kupala, which we've talked about in the broom episode, the lore episode, Ivana Kupala is the shortest night of the year. Summer solstice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Girls make ornate wreaths out of flowers and vines. They head to the river and drop the wreaths in. As legend has it, the direction of that the wreath floats, that is where you will find your husband. Also, where the wreath stops is where you and your lover will meet. That's
Cute.
really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the eve of St. Andrew's Day, early December, girlfriends write the names of boys on slips of paper. The girl then slips them under her pillow and goes to sleep. It's much neater than cake. Don't do the cake.
Don't do
When
the cake.
when she wakes, the first thing she is to do is reach under her pillow and grab a slip of paper. The name written on the first paper she pulls out is the name of her husband-to-be.
Oh,
Yeah,
little chance game there.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Also on St. Andrew's Day, that's December 13th, girls go out and ask for the first male they meet for their name. The name they say is the name of their future husband. So the first guy, you just go, hey, what's your name?
Carl.
Carl.
Carl. All right.
And she marries a Carl?
Yes, I'm getting married to Carl.
All right. Small town life. What are you doing later? You want to get married?
You want to get married? It is
Hmm.
said that if you hit your funny bone, that instead of grabbing it and trying to ease the pain, that you are to think of the one you want to be thinking of you and it will stop the pain. However, if instead you grab your elbow, that person will never be thinking of you.
How fucking awful is hitting your funny bone? Oh, it sucks.
Dude, I not dropped, but like I hit my knee with a weight yesterday
Ooh, ooh.
while I was working out. Oh my, I was limping for like the rest. I think it's okay now, but I was
You
limping all
alright?
day. Yeah, I'm all
Damn.
right. I was like, oh fuck, I Tanya Harding myself.
Too soon. Too soon.
Too soon. Too soon. All right.
So, a fun game that girls play on St. Andrew's Day. This St. Andrew's Day seems like a big deal. Seems like a big deal in Slavic culture. Is to race across the threshold. Girls start at the far corner of the room and line their shoes up one by one. The girl whose shoes the first to cross the threshold will be the first one in the group to get married.
So when cutting into a new loaf of bread, it is said that the girl who eats the first piece will have many suitors. Straight to the point.
Yeah. If you find a piece of string on you, it can tell you your whole future according to this superstition. The color of the string tells you the hair color of your future spouse. Light colored is blonde, red colored is red, obviously, and a dark color is brown haired. Then you take the string and wrap it around your pointer finger, listing off a letter of the alphabet with each. Oh, so you like say the alphabet while you wrap it around your finger?
Okay, yeah.
The last letter you get to is the first letter of your future husband's name. So as you wrap it around, you say a little alphabet.
Did you ever play the soda tab game?
No,
You know
what
I'm
is
talking
that? No.
So when you have a can of Coke, this is what we did back in I don't know, grade school, middle school, maybe
Okay.
into high school. You have a can of soda, right? You take that tab and you keep bending it, I think, back and forth, but until it rips off. And as you're bending it back and forth, you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then whatever letter it rips off on is the name of the letter of the man that you're gonna be with.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Now you know.
We used to do that all the time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that kind of goes along with the game that we're going to play right after the break. Christina has I don't know if you guys remember from like childhood, MASH. You guys remember the game MASH? Christina's
It's love divination, right?
It is love divination.
It's knowing your future. So I'm gonna mash Justina's mind.
Mash
with a
me.
game with this like, mash session. All
We're
right.
gonna mash the shit out of it. All right, we're gonna come back after the break, and yeah, we're gonna play some MASH. We're gonna talk about some love potions today and modern, I guess, love spells,
Yep.
love spells from film and literature, and
Yep.
then
And I think we have some like not embarrassing stories, but a little personal stories of us in our baby witch stage is thinking about using love spells and
or
how
maybe
that
actually
turned out.
using love spells. All right, we will be right back.
Hey, we're the Stinas, and you're listening to the Magnolia Street podcast. All right.
You guys don't know this. I actually had to go to work, and Christina spent the whole day editing. So a whole day went by before we were recording the segment.
I've been working on this episode since like 5:30 this morning. I got up and I was like, I'll just add this little bit. I'll keep reading that like amatory bullshit. And here comes 6 o'clock. And I was like, well, shit, I better go do something else. And now it's 6:30 and Justina's like, we have more for you. But we're going to start off with a little fun throwback, aren't we? We're going to do a bit of MASH. And for those I don't like the taste of that word in my mouth. For those youngsters who don't know what MASH is, it's a game you play on a piece of paper by writing out the people you want to marry. So like 3 people you want to marry, 3 jobs you want to have, 3 cars you want to have, colors, occupation, number of kids, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have that person who you're writing it down for pick a number, and it's supposed to predict your future. It's predicting your love. It's predicting your. So we're going to do a little bit of that. And you know what? So give me 3 boys you would like to marry.
Like famous.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco.
Okay.
Brandon Boyd from Incubus. Those are like my 2 wild cards, or my free pass. What other what actors? Are there any actors that I'm like really into?
How about I pick one for you?
All right.
Jimmy Angelov.
Okay.
All
Practical
right.
Magic Edition. So should
3.
we throw Gary in there too?
Okay. 2 more.
Who do I think is just like a snack?
Let's do Billy Zane.
Billy Jane.
Billy Zane. Okay, and last one. Here, we'll come back. All right. And we'll move on to cars. So we have one more to do for the person.
Got it.
5 cars.
I'm gonna pick this card because this is a card that I wanted in high school, but I never got it because I got its sister car.
Okay.
In high school, I wanted a Beetle.
Okay, like a little punch bug?
Yeah. But then when I went shopping for one, there was also a Volkswagen Cabrio, and I was really appealed by the option to take the top down in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was like around the same price, so I got that car instead. So I never actually got the bug that I wanted. So I'm gonna go for bug. My dream car right now is a pink, I think Jeep Sahara. I think Sahara is the model that I wanted.
Okay.
In pink.
Y'all, no, colors come next. You cannot pick.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's get wonky with it. The Flintstone Mobile.
Okay.
Skateboard.
How about like a Segway?
Or how about a 18-wheeler? Because I'm Donna.
Oh my God. 18 wheels and a dozen roses. Wheeler. Okay. All right. Colors.
Pink.
Pink.
Red.
Okay.
Electric blue.
Okay.
White.
Mm-hmm.
And mint green.
Ooh. Okay. What's that? Occupation.
I used to want to be a vet when I was little.
Oh.
And then I was like,
animals down.
I don't think I could do that. Professional. I guess I am I'm a musician, but like I'd like to make a living doing that. So
like a touring billboard
successful musician. Successful musician, not the bullshit that I am now.
Oh, okay.
Apothecary. What do you call? I don't know, an herbalist? What would you call it?
I'll put apothecary herbalist.
Personal shopper.
Okay. But you don't get to keep any of this stuff.
Yeah, but you get to spend somebody else's money and it goes on their credit card, but you still get the satisfaction of actually making the purchase. That's
all right.
That's where isn't that where the serotonin comes in? Like
personal
actually
shopper. Okay.
Influencer.
Okay. Number of kids.
0.
Okay. 100.
No. 2 cats.
No, that doesn't count.
Cats can't count as children?
No, these are physical humans.
Boo. You whore.
They don't have pets on this list. We can do pets too.
That's another Mean Girls quote, by the way. I wasn't actually calling you a whore.
Oh. I'm so desensitized to you by now.
You're like, oh, Justina's just calling me a whore. It's fine. All right. 1.
Okay.
5.
Okay.
7.
Very good. Okay. Pets.
Cat.
Yeah.
Wolf.
Yeah.
Fennec fox.
Mm-hmm.
Mouse.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I love mice.
Okay.
We get them in the basement, and I don't let Avi kill them. We have to use the humane traps with the peanut butter, and then I set them free in the woods.
Oh, that's cute.
I actually begged Avi to let me keep one. He was like, "What are you,
Fun.
crazy?"
All right. What place or state do you want to live? Like state or country, I guess.
Let's go back to LA.
Okay. LA.
I could get down with Mykonos. Greece was beautiful.
Okay.
Salem. 1 more.
2 more.
Sedona, Arizona.
And
I'm going to go back to my homeland. We'll go with Sicily.
All right. You ready? You're going to tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. Oh, Jesus. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, you never picked the 5th person, the fifth guy.
Oh, Johnny Depp.
Johnny D.
Like okay. 90s Johnny, not like washed up Johnny.
All right. No Flintstone Mobile. You're not a vet. You don't have 5 kids.
Thank God.
You don't live in Sedona.
Hmm.
Oh, no, Jimmy.
Thank God.
Uh-oh, you're gonna have some kids.
No.
Oh, almost got a car. 1, 2, 3. You live in Salem.
Yes. The universe is on my side.
You drive an 18-wheeler.
Oh my God.
Wait,
There's no parking in Salem. Where the fuck am I
There's
gonna
no
park that?
6, 7. You don't live in a shack. That's good. 1.
Things are looking up.
You are a successful musician.
I'm a successful musician in Salem that drives an 18-wheeler.
3, 4. You're married to Johnny Depp.
Oh, Johnny boy.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You live in a mansion. Yes.
Dude, the universe is on my side. It's all right, Johnny.
8.
I'll treat you better than that, Amber,
5,
bitch.
6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3.
I
4,
watched
5,
that
6,
entire
7,
trial,
8.
by the way.
Are you ready to know what we have divined for your future through the MASH?
Mash me.
All right. Your lucky number was 8. All right. You live in a mansion with your loving, devoted husband, Johnny Depp, and you're both successful musicians. You have 100 children.
Wait, what?
You drive an 18-wheeler.
My poor uterus. What the fuck?
You drive
Why
a
do we
pink,
have that many kids?
pink 18-wheeler.
That's
And
great. All
you
right.
live in Salem with your pet fennec fox.
Dude, that sounds like an awesome life. Minus the
What?
100 kids.
It has everything. It has everything.
I like it. All right.
All
I
right.
can get down with all of that except for the kids.
Yeah. What if it was 100 fennec foxes?
Even that, I'd be like, 100 of anything.
It's a lot.
Dude, 2
Except
cats.
dollars.
What?
Except dollars. It's
Oh
not
yeah, I
that
could get
much.
down with $100, but like 2 cats is plenty for me.
Mm-hmm.
2 cats and a husband. I don't need to pick up after anything else.
Are we ready to talk about like love potions in today's culture?
Yeah, let's talk about all that stuff.
All right. So let's fast forward a few centuries since we just talked about all the Romans and the Egyptians and the Greeks and the thespians, everybody doing everything with penises. We're going to talk about how love potions and love magic hold a place in today's society. So let's fast forward a few centuries, and spells and potions had found their way into early popular tales. Some versions of the story of Tristan and Isolde date back to the 12th century. They feature a love potion, also included in the seminal 19th century Wagner opera. Well, that dates back to around the dawn of the 17th century. Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream prominently features such a love potion, which, in that instance, was made from the juice of a flower. I'm wondering if this is the same flower we talked about earlier, the satyr something. So an early appearance of love magic in popular novels was in the classic Little Women, when the March sisters perform a play written by Joe featuring a love potion titled The Witch's Curse, an operatic tragedy. It seems that in 1868, casting love spells was already a well-known enough trope that it was embraced by teenagers. By the time the 20th century rolled around, and especially once television, with its ever-regenerating need for the titillating storyline, came into play, love spells were well established as a fantasy plot point. It was used in everything from a 1960s episode of The Twilight Zone, adapted from a John Collier short story, which was also adapted into both a 1950s and 1990s Tales from the Crypt versions, to a 1970s episode of Bewitched, where, oops, the love potion ends up in the clam dip at the Stevens party. Of course. Of
Oh
course it
no,
fucking
not the
does.
clam dip.
Not the clam dip. And we mentioned this earlier. It pops up in pop music. Love Potion number 9, as Justina mentioned, was the 1959 song by the Clovers, told of an aphrodisiac peddled by a gypsy that makes the subject love/kiss everything he sees in sight, including an uncooperative cop. That last kiss caused the destruction of the potion, and the love song itself continued throughout the decades. It was covered by many artists, including The Searchers, Neil Diamond, The White Stripes, and Alvin and the Chipmunks. The 1956 Screamin' Jay Hawkins hit I Put a Spell on You, that's a great version.
Mhm.
Great version, was named one of Rock and Roll's Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll, and was covered by Nina Simone and performed by CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival at Woodstock. 3 decades later came Tone Loc, the 1989 popular single Funky Cold Medina, in which he tests out a titular substance seen as a steaming potion in the music video. Better than any alcohol or aphrodisiac on his dog, which becomes amorous and later has to fend off marriage-crazed ladies. I don't think it's listed here, but there's the Nutty Professor. There was the older version with Jerry Lewis, which is
Okay.
really good, where it's basically like not a love potion, but it enhances his personality. It actually makes his personality awful. He turns into such like a ding dong fuckboy, but it makes him very handsome and suave.
Okay.
So that's another example. A prominent manual for witches came out in the 1970s. Aspiring witches included the love-struck seeking charms could consult the first such tome by a major publisher, the now classic Mastering Witchcraft, a practical guide for witches, warlocks, and covens. It presents witchcraft for those wishing to practice traditional European witchcraft as a craft rather than a new age religion, according to its description on Amazon, and it includes spells for love and lust. What's the book that you have that we're gonna... Did you still want to talk about that little book of love spells?
It's just a tiny little, here, I'll show you.
Who's it by? That I'm curious.
Deborah Keller, illustrated by Lisa Parrott, Parett, and it's just a very small little book.
Cute.
It's like a little pocket-sized book.
Okay. We can go through
pocket
that
love
in a little
spells.
bit. Awesome. In the 1990s, witches and their love magic were cropping up everywhere in film, TV, and literature. We had a whole big episode about 90s witch culture, witch fashion, and witch course. Go check that out.
Mhm.
But in 1993, Hocus Pocus had its 3 sister witches. In 1998's WB series, Charmed, and its 3 other sister witches, and the Harry Potter juggernaut. So here we go. Sandra Bullock starred in 2 witchy movies in 1992. Love Potion number 9. She is given a spell by a gypsy, just like in the song, and changes the subject's voice so the opposite sex is attracted and the same sex is repelled. And then 1998, Practical Magic. Her character wants to avoid falling in love, so she creates the Amas Veritas anti-love spell describing a man she didn't think could exist. That he can flip pancakes in the air, he'd be marvelously kind, his favorite shade would be a star, and he would have 1 green eye, 1 blue.
Considering that a working love spell is an aphrodisiac that circumvents the recipient's free will, love spells are of dubious morality, not far removed from Mickey Finn's and Spanish Fly. Most stories that use love spells ignore their implicit lack of consent. One of the only potions with ethical restriction is found in The Up-to-Date Sorcerer, a 1958 Isaac Asimov short story in which the spell only affected subjects who weren't already married. At the other end of the spectrum is the love-inducing tincture from a 2007 episode of the British sitcom The It Crowd, supplied by a mysterious blind sorcerer named Maurice, who earlier in the episode proved to be an olfactory expert capable of detecting trace ingredients, gets a whiff of his co-worker's dosed tea and asks, "Why are you drinking Rohypnol, Jen? Are you having problems with insomnia?"
This show is so cute, by the way. If you get it, it is the IT crowd. It's like an IT center, but
Got it.
the crowd. It's really cute.
All right. So perhaps because of this moral issue, storylines that involve love magic tend to fall into 2 outcomes. Either they work as intended, but with an asterisk, or they don't. Let's look at some examples. Or Love Potion number 69, spells with sexy results. There are some successful love potions in pop culture, but they tend to result in something terrible. At least 2 fictional married couples were united by a love potion, and neither union was the most positive. In the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TV series, villainous Rita Repulsa gives Lord Zed a love potion. Zed took an antidote, and their love proved to be legit. And in the Harry Potter series, Evil Incarnate, aka Lord Voldemort, was the product of parents who were bonded by a love potion. So does that mean he was like illegitimate because he was the product of like not real love?
Interesting.
It was just the source of a potion. In the spells that work category, there is a wait, this isn't right variation. For example, in the 1989 movie Teen Witch, title witch Louise uses magic to gain popularity and the interest of her crush, but gives up her powers to believe in herself instead. Aww. Oh, yeah. I love that movie, by the way. And then we have Love Potion number 666. Spells gone horribly wrong. Hail Satan. It's much more common in pop culture for spells to not work out. In one episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Xander's love spell works on everyone except his intended. And in another episode, a Letterman jacket that renders the wearer attractive to everyone causes all kinds of mayhem. The love spell in the 1996 high school witch movie The Craft is such a success that it turns into attempted rape, which we talk about a little more in depth down in the film category. And more recently, on an episode of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, the lesson is although magic is okay in friendship, don't use it to land love. Ponies affected by a love potion realize too late that it is in fact a love poison, so they are doomed to love sickness, compelled to gaze gaga-eyed at each other and call each other ridiculous pet names forever. This, of course, threatens to break down the social order until the antidote, avoiding the gaze of one's beloved for 1 hour, is enforced.
Oh, cute.
This wasn't listed here, but The Love Witch. Have you ever watched The Love Witch?
I haven't. We talked about it a little bit on another one of our episodes. And
Yeah, it's
I
nuts.
think I mentioned it looks like it's filmed like an old school style, but it's a
Yeah.
more modern movie.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I was like, was this like a 70s movie that like I've never heard about? And then like you could see in the movie there's like current modern cars in the
Interesting.
scenes. But it's filmed like in an old, like I guess like on an old camera. It says it was shot on a 35 millimeter film and printed
Cool.
from an original cut negative. So it's a tribute to 1960s horror and Technicolor films. Yeah, she does a lot of witch bottles, and she drugs. I think she drugs a guy, and then she does like a tampon witch bottle, which is really fucking weird.
All right.
She
Not
buries his
stereotypical.
body on this. She buries his body. I think she buries it on the property she kills him. I'm like, how stupid can you fucking be?
Well, Sally and Jillian do the same thing, so you know.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, I think she like leaves the witch bottle like right by where she buries him.
Oh, that's stupid.
I don't remember. I gotta watch it again.
Is that where the sound clip comes from? The day he left me is the day I died.
I
And
think
was reborn. I wish.
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. So films. So yeah, The Love Witch is one. If you want to see all the love spells, check out The Love Witch. It's pretty crazy. Then we have the Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's a show. And there's an episode called Hercules Unchained, where the waters of forgetfulness are used by an evil queen to enslave Hercules and make him think she is his wife. He catches on to the ruse later, thanks to his trusty sidekick Ulysses, who manages to secretly spill the magical water anytime someone tries giving it to Hercules.
Have you watched this show?
No.
Mystery Science Theater is so fucking funny.
Is it?
It's like it's three comedians. It's
Okay.
You only see them from behind. It's a guy and like two robots. And it's just basically like if we were watching a movie and just shitting on it and like talking about it the whole time.
Oh,
But they feature old movies and then
Okay.
they just like do commentary over top of it every now and then. It's really funny.
We should like do our own commentary over top of stupid ass movies. That would be funny. But we
Yeah.
should do it in the voices of Donna and
Darlene.
Darlene. Yeah. So in two other Hercules-based movies featured on Mystery Science Theater 3000, evil queens try slipping love potions to the big Herc. Only by this time he's become genre savvy enough to spill them or spit them out. He then only pretends to be affected by them. Now we're making our way back to the 1992 Sandra Bullock movie Love Potion number 9. Potion makes temporary changes to the voice of the person who takes it such that anyone of the opposite sex hearing them speak is attracted to them and willing to do anything they ask, and makes members of the same sex hate them just as much. Isn't that kind of like, I don't know, bigoted?
Yeah. Does the guy take it?
I don't know. No, I think either one can take it, but it's like it repels the same sex.
But in the movie, does the guy take it or does Sandra Bullock take it?
I don't remember.
Okay.
So it says larger doses escalate the effect dramatically, as the villainess discovers when she reverse engineers and strengthens the potion to the point where it's thick as molasses, inadvertently creating a thundering herd of men following her after she chugs it.
Must be Sandra Bullock then.
Maybe. I can't picture Sandra Bullock being a villain though. I don't think she's a villain in that movie. Can you picture Sandra Bullock being a villain?
Yeah. I think she'd be good because technically, isn't she like the anti-hero in Ocean's 8?
Is she?
Yeah, she's like the head thief.
Yeah, I guess
She's
you're
like
right.
she's like Danny Ocean.
Yeah, but she's still
Daniela Ocean.
But she is still a protagonist. So even though she's not doing something very ethical, you're still rooting for her because she's painted as the main character.
I think we'll have to watch this movie then.
Okay, what do you guys think? It's up for debate. Is she a villain in that movie, or is she the protagonist? I'm just saying in general, like protagonists sometimes can be painted as a good guy even though they aren't exactly ethical. But I don't know, in this case, I don't know if she's the villain. So the above effects are not from the eponymous number 9 potion, but from number 8. The gypsy woman who sells the potion to the protagonist and has a full range of love potions from 1 through 9 with varying effects, keeps the number 9 potion, the strongest, in reserve for a later date. When the two realize they might love one another, then the number 9 is imbibed by both. The gypsy warns that if they truly love one another, then their love will never die. If it is not true love, then they will not be able to stand the sight of one another. So the film, I think I pulled this from the wiki page.
You gotta put your glasses back on and do that spitty voice again.
Oh God, here we go. Okay, ready?
Looking for your combination.
Here we go. We got to give this character a name. Okay. So, this film gives a pseudoscientific explanation as to how love potion number 8 works. It is explained. When swallowed, it affects the vocal cords directly so that when you speak, micro tremors encoded within your voice stimulate tiny little hairs in the inner ear of the opposite sex. The hair vibrates, sending a signal along a nerve to the brain, which in turn produces a combination of mood-altering endogenous chemicals responsible for the biochemical process of falling in love. It makes members of the same sex hostile and only works for 4 hours at a time.
She pushes her glasses farther up her nose.
End scene.
Goodbye, Phyllis.
Phyllis! Is that her name?
Phyllis the
I'm
scientist.
philosophical.
There you go. There you go.
So love potion number 9 prevents love from fading and overrides the effects of love potion number 8. So I guess that's how it works. Yeah. So tell us about Shrek.
Yeah. I don't remember Shrek 2 all that much. Is this the one where he takes the potion and like he looks handsome? He's not an ogre anymore.
I don't remember that.
Okay, here we go. Shrek 2 has one of these. If you look carefully, you'll see that one of the bottles has the numerals 9.
What is IX?
The 1 and 10, so 9. What,
Okay.
like 1 minus 10. So you'll see the bottle has the Roman numerals 9 written on it. Fiona's fairy godmother orders the king to pour it into Fiona's drink so that she will fall in love with Prince Charming instead of Shrek. It doesn't work because the king decided not to give Fiona the potion-laced drink after seeing how much she loved Shrek. So we were talking earlier about Jason and the Argonauts, right? Being like my hangover film. There's quite a few different Thief of Bagdads, and they're kind of pretty much the same. But in this one, features the evil Grand Vizier named what else? Jafar, okay? And he gives the princess a blue rose of forgetfulness, which makes her forget all about the love for the hero, at least until he shows up later to snap her out of it, basically. Title character Hondo Sinatra in the 80s college sex romp, The Party Animal, eventually makes a potent love potion out of random chemicals in a science lab. After exposing himself to the potion, it works too well with disastrous results. This next one, you have to let me know if you've seen this movie called Perfume.
No.
Sensory, like you can smell it, you can taste it, you can see. It's weird.
Really?
It's fucking weird. Okay,
Really?
so I'll read the description and then I'll see if I can remember any of it.
Oh, look, they have a villain protagonist.
Ayo, Jean-Baptiste Genois.
Grenouille?
Who knows? So let me just picture this. So picture this like France plague, like shit in the streets. This little baby is born like under like a market stand, and he is just like birthed with like this sense of smell that is way more powerful than everybody else. Weird dude grows up to be a weird fucking kid, and through the whole movie he ends up like luring women and killing them, like beautiful women, and using their bodies and learning how to basically distill their smell into perfume.
Is this a true story?
I don't think so.
Could you imagine if that shit really happened?
So he goes on a killing spree and is captured after he kills like one of the higher ups, like the mayor's daughter, who's super pretty.
Okay.
So this perfume, this was the last like kill of his that it was supposed to complete his like Chanel number 5, basically.
Okay.
And when this perfume is completed, the first time he uses it, the crowd that's gathered around for his execution, one drop of this shit, I guess, like sends people into a frenzy of desire and ecstasy. He pours the whole thing over himself before his execution, and this drives everybody around him into like a passionate orgy by this scent. So the second time he uses it, a crowd of bums is so taken by his beauty that they eat him alive.
Oh, geez.
And he wanted this to happen, because he realized that the love, quote unquote love, that his perfume created wasn't real.
Holy shit.
It's a weird
Who's in this movie?
It's
The Story of a Murderer. Oh, Dustin Hoffman. You know what? I did see this.
Dustin
I
Hoffman
did see
and
this. Ben
Alan
Whishaw.
Rickman, Dustin Hoffman.
Ben Wishaw is the main Jean Baptiste. You know what? I remember that orgy scene. I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Super crazy movie.
Yeah,
But take us
remember
into a
watching.
lighter place of the craft, please.
Oh right, a lighter place. Okay. Basically, everything, the shit hits the fan in this one too. So the craft, as we all know, Sarah cast a love spell on Chris Hooker because he spread nasty rumors about her around school. So the requirements to this spell, this is when they're in the woods, right? They take that little bus trip where we are the weirdos, mister. So they're in the woods chanting, and they take a sip of wine containing your blood and other members of your coven's blood. Because that's safe, you know. So the spell is I drink of my sisters and I ask for the ability to whatever. Okay. So everybody says something different. And Sarah, she says, I ask for the ability to love myself more and be loved more by others. But then at the end, she throws in, especially Chris Hooker. And then she takes a sip of the wine, said, blessed be, blah, blah, blah. That's it. Okay. So, but then her spell kind of backfires. So over the course of the film, Chris, who was already the world's biggest asshole, by the way, this wording
is that Skeet
Ulrich, yeah.
Oh, so cute.
Who also is in a movie with Nev Campbell when they were both in Scream together, and he played the killer.
Yeah.
Oh,
so spoiler! Good job.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry,
the
if
movie's
you
been out for 25 years.
If you haven't seen Scream by now, shame on you. They're now on like Scream 6.
Yeah.
This whole bit is from the fatfeministwitch.com. All right. So these are not my words. This is from the Fat Feminist Witch. So check out this website if you want to know more about this. So the Fat Feminist Witch says, over the course of the film, Chris, who already was the world's biggest asshole, gets more and more obsessed with Sarah and in less and less control of his actions. The film shows this by showing a rape attempt, sexual assault on Sarah by Chris. Let's be clear, with the way that dude treated women, him becoming a rapist didn't seem like it was too far off from reality. The spell didn't make him act totally out of character, it just made him more extreme and made him less able to hold back his impulses. I still shed 0 tears when he face plants off a roof at Nancy's magical suggestion later. As I demonstrated during the recent hexing of Brock Turner, that fuckface, I fully endorse cursing and hexing rapists.
You're sorry! You're sorry! You're sorry! Sorry, my ass! Yep.
Best scene ever.
Best scene ever.
This does open the question of ethics and love spells and addresses exactly what Sarah did wrong. She took away Chris's consent. This was the magical equivalent of spiking someone's drink and flirting with them. I guess if you put it that way, that makes a lot of sense. Like, it's just basically using a date rape drug, but a spiritual date rape drug. You know?
Yeah, they're kind of both in the wrong.
It's the same shit. So she never gave Chris a choice. This is the main reason I almost never advocate love spells. If you were interested in a love spell, though, there are lots of things you can do to avoid being a sleaze witch douche. You can direct your love spell at yourself, telling yourself to recognize how worthy you are of being loved, or to be more open-minded when you meet new people. And now,
I need that.
Sarah was
really bad.
Sarah was like, she was fine with her little spell that she did until she threw in the name, especially Chris Hooker, at the end. Because she does say, I ask for my sisters for the ability to love myself and be loved more by others. That was perfectly fine. But then she was like, especially Chris Hooker.
Yeah, she fucked up there.
And then it kind of just like took a detour down a dark path.
It's going 60 down a one-way street now.
She just drove into a median and the car went up in flames.
Oh, God.
So you can cast spells for people to see your inner beauty, or spells to attract a general idea of a special person. Basically, not naming any names in a love spell is the best way to go. It's better to cast spells that deal with the root problem of your single life. Do you work too much or stupid hours? Are you too broke for dating? Are you a hermit? Have you been hurt in the past? Do you have trust issues? She says, work your shit out, girl. Yeah, 100%. And then I actually added this little bit. This wasn't from any source or anything, but I was thinking of The Little Mermaid. like in the movie. By
Oh,
the way,
yeah.
this is also I think it's a Hans Christian Andersen. Is it?
With
Is
different storyline for sure.
Oh
It is
yeah,
a
it's
different
much. He,
storyline.
I think his is much darker. Or am I thinking Brothers Grimm?
No, you're right. Yeah,
Okay,
Brothers Grimm
okay,
is dark, but the Hans Christian Andersen one is very dark also.
okay. All right. So yeah, so they did lighten it a little bit for the Disney movie, but in the Disney movie, she's still kind of a banana because all right. So Ariel, the mermaid, was so infatuated with this sailor guy, Eric. She was actually willing to sacrifice the one thing that made her unique and special and beautiful, her voice, right? So she signs a contract with Ursula, the sea witch, and willingly hands over her beautiful voice, which Ursula then captures via that Latin spell chant that she does and places it in her conch shell necklace. So then Ariel, she doesn't have her voice anymore. So this is a lesson that love spells do in fact come with the price. But I mean, if you're willing to sacrifice parts of yourself to make somebody fall in love with you, that I think
That's
you
not
have
love.
I think you have some deeper inner work you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. A few things about that storyline. Eric, definitely, in my opinion, most handsome Disney
Mhm.
prince. Oh, it's the sailor thing. Oh, hi.
Yeah. Brandy.
And Brandy and Ursula just doing her job. She
Right?
laid it all out there, contract and everything. And that was
Mhm.
on Ariel to read. If she can write her own name, why couldn't she read that fucking
Right.
contract? Why
Yeah.
couldn't she just write, I can't talk to Eric? Nah.
Why didn't she say, "Hey, can I have my lawyer look over this and I'll get back to you?"
I'll get back to you. Oh, shit.
Can we Zoom tomorrow after my lawyer looks this over?
Flotsam,
Anyway.
jetsam.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so Ursula was, I mean, she was doing exactly what the aunts did.
Exactly.
She's getting paid to do a job, and she did it, right?
Right,
She
right,
did
right.
exactly what she wanted her to do.
Cool.
Sally the Ragdoll in Nightmare Before Christmas does make Jack a love potion.
Oh, that one was not listed. Okay.
Yeah. I forget what she puts in it, but basically when Jack opens the bottle, this like butterfly or like a heart or something like flies out.
Okay.
But then after he does that, Sally has this like stick in her hand and it turns into a Christmas tree and it's really sparkly and twinkly for like a minute and then it bursts up into flames. And
Oh.
Sally has premonitions, so she knew some shit was going to hit the fan.
Yeah, the Oogie Boogie Man.
Yeah.
How about we hit up some literature, which we kind of talked about before the whirlwind of the Harry Potter series. So in the Half-Blood Prince, we learned that if not for a love spell / potion, Big Baddie Daddy Voldemort wouldn't have even existed, since his mother Merope apparently used one to make her crush Tom Riddle, Voldemort's father, marry her. This is actually a subversion of the usual story because the potion apparently did work perfectly. However, Dumbledore speculates she began to feel guilty after a while and willingly stopped giving him the potion in the hope that he would have grown to really love her. Unfortunately, he didn't. Given how starved for love she was, having been raised in a highly dysfunctional family, Merope comes off rather sympathetically. I don't remember any of the books, really. Did you read the books? I don't remember her storyline, but that's interesting.
I read the first book. I don't think I read as far, or even the movies. I think I watched up to like maybe the third movie. I don't think I watched or read as far as to know Voldemort's whole backstory. If we're saying Merope, is it Merope or Merope? Merope? If you guys are Potterheads and you know, please feel free to correct us. We don't know. We don't know.
We want to learn, please.
Yeah.
So love potions are banned at Hogwarts, apparently, although they are apparently legal in the wizarding world at large and are openly sold at stores that cater to students. Not that it has stopped Harry's fangirls from trying to slip him love potions in the forms of perfume, chocolates, drinks, and more, courtesy of Fred and George Weasley. One of those said slipped love potions caused Ron, not Harry, to fall in love with one of the fangirls. In Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Rita Skeeter accuses Hermione Granger of using love potions to make Harry Potter and Victor Crumb fall in love with her. It is noted that in the books, love potions doesn't make the person taking them fall in love. Instead, it creates a powerful infatuation with the person creating the potion. Word of God is that this quality of love potion is one of the reasons Voldemort is unable to understand the power of love.
Are we talking like Celine, Power of Love?
Oh, I was singing a different one.
Wait, which song were you singing?
That's the power of love.
I just assumed that you were Celining it out right now.
I wasn't.
Power of love.
It's so good.
That's going on the playlist now.
As he was conceived under the effects of one of the consequences, there was no genuine emotion between his parents during his conception, leading to the lack of love that would permeate on the rest of his life.
Poor Voldemort.
So one version of, have you seen Tristan and Isolde, like the newer one with James Franco in it?
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
It's like a kind of like a Romeo and Juliet
Is
kind of
it?
love story set in like the same time, different. No, it's probably older. It's much older story.
Okay.
But James Franco is in it, and the guy from A Knight's Tale, who's like not the bad guy, but he's like the bad guy you don't want to win in the end. Do you remember that movie?
I remember the movie, but I only remember Heath Ledger.
Okay.
Okay.
One version of Tristan and Isolde has the eponymous lovers drinking the mixture from a vial, thinking it's a lethal poison, only to discover instead that it is a love potion. That doesn't happen in the movie that I remember in the new one.
Okay.
Another version has Isolde's maid giving her a love potion and telling her to use it with her betrothed husband, King Mark. Isolde instead chooses to use it on her beloved Tristan, even though she knows the two of them can't be together. Still, another version has them drink it accidentally, mistaking it for wine.
Ooh.
And then, again, in Little Women, the sisters perform a play with a villain who purchases a love potion from a witch, along with poison to kill his romantic rival, probably to avoid that power of true love loophole. The witch, however, double crosses him, stops the princess from drinking the potion, and slips the villain his own poison.
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn.
What's love in
That's
your
the
dreams?
power of love. I'm going to pull out, not Joellen Deshawn. What the hell's her name? Brasidia Ryan.
Brasidia Ryan. Brasidia. Well, come to the party, Brasidia.
Okay, so it has just general love, all right, if y'all have this book, but then it has, which I should have looked at, Love Apple. Love Apple is its own little section. The fuck? Okay, so she's got Love Apple, Love Beads, Love Bird, Love Bug, Love Feast, Love Game, Love Making, Love Potion. I guess I'll read that one. Lover and Love Seat. Okay. So should I do love or love potion?
Love potion. We're talking about potions, right?
Okay, so if you dream of a love potion, you will be pushed to the limit by someone who will tease you in a sexual way. You will be unable to handle this situation correctly. Prepare ahead for this so you can develop the means to handle this in its proper manner. And that is from Brasidia Ryan, The Ultimate Dream Dictionary Language. Wait, The Ultimate Dictionary of Dream Language.
Thank you, Brasidia, once again.
Yes. I pulled out, and I won't read like the incantations or anything. I won't go too in depth. There's a video on my YouTube that I did of flipping through like the practical magic inspired Book of Shadows that my friend and I made back when we first watched Practical Magic. So I'm going to pop this sucker out circa 2001. But like we had a whole like love section. So it starts here. Right?
That's so cute.
And it goes... It keeps going. It's got lots of love stuff, but love that we had no
idea about,
no right talking about. We're trying to conjure. So some of the things in here that we wrote down was to encourage a lover's return. Okay, and that involves a needle and an onion, which I did this one. I remember doing this one, and like the onion sitting in my room and just like
rotting,
turning into mush. It says, start on a Friday, press a pin into the onion. Imagine you're putting it into your lover's mind while doing so. Say, it is not this onion I wish to prick, but your mind and heart I wish to stick. You'll think of me night and day until with words you arrive and say, I love you. Leave it in the sunlight. Okay. And repeat this for 7 nights.
I was thinking of another word to rhyme with prick.
Oh, no. Maybe. Depends what you're looking for.
Exactly.
We had written down on like vellum or like natural paper how to find love. We have a romance oil. It's 2 drops of ylang ylang, drops of sandalwood, and 2 drops of clary sage oil. And you put that on a pink candle.
Did you actually try all of the ones that you wrote down, or just the onion one?
I think just the onion one, if I can recall. I'm trying to read my childhood handwriting about to find love. If it seems ethical, on the day of a new moon, cut a red heart out of red paper, take a clean sheet of white paper and a new pen. As this red heart glows in candlelight, I draw you, lover, closer to me this night. Okay.
Okay.
So that's like, that seems okay so far.
Yeah.
Bathe and change into night clothes. When ready, light a red candle and read the spell aloud. Hold heart in front of the flame, I guess that red heart, and let the light shine on it. Place the heart and spell in a new envelope and seal it with wax from the candle. Leave it for 28 days. And by the time the new moon should be there, your new love will be in your life. Okay, so that one seems like okay.
Also, a Sandra Bullock movie.
28 days later.
Really good. It's one of my favorite movies.
I have to rid yourself of an unwanted lover in here. I have to bring a lover back. Let's see
You were
here.
really into the love spells. Huh?
We had the love spells down. I
Mm.
think there's one more. Look at this page.
Oh, I love the collage.
was-
Is that your handwriting? It's gorgeous.
It is my handwriting. Well, thank you.
I wish my.
I have something for easing cramps if you're interested in that. But
Is it on the same page of as the love spell?
yeah, it's on the same page as bring someone close spell. And cramps and lowering fever are on the same page as to bring someone close spell. So
Interesting.
there you go. To bring someone close, there are any number of ways to do this spell. You can drip water, preferably full moon water, on photos of you and your beloved. You can set a candle in a bowl of water and allow it to burn until the water extinguishes it. You may also want to use come to me oil or incense for the spell. However you do it, visualize your beloved arriving from afar to find your love. It says, sacred water flow from me to draw him ever near. As endless rivers run to sea, his path to me is clear. A love that's true, once here he'll find and know his journey's end, and in his heart and soul and mind, he'll know our lives should blend.
I like how you didn't even end it on a rhyme.
I think that's all the love stuff I have.
Where'd you get the love spells from? Did you guys write those?
I think we had got them off the internet to bring back a wayward husband, which fuck that guy.
I like how you're like, what, 13, 14, thinking about husbands?
Oh, geez.
Oh,
To
so
find a
funny.
compatible lover, that one seems okay.
Uh-huh.
So have a ring made with amethyst, aquamarine, and topaz stones and chant over it. Bring me true love, bring me long love, bring me the love of my dreams. If the spell is done correctly, the ring should suddenly tighten on your finger when the suitable man approaches.
Interesting.
Girl. I'm not over it. It's great. For an untrue love. I'm telling you, you want a spell? I got a spell.
She's got the hookup, guys. If you need a
Ugh.
spell,
I'm going to take you out of 2001 back to 2023.
Oh, geez.
Oh, well, Justina will tell us her story of
Oh, God.
embarrassment.
Well, it's not really like, all right. It's not like horrible. Nothing disastrous happened. It wasn't really like that. But I do specifically remember I was into this guy and we were, talking. I was under the impression we were dating, but I think I was also a secret because guess what? Homeboy was dating another girl. Like he was in a committed relationship with another girl.
Oh, garbage
and
man.
I was the other woman. But see, like,
Okay.
yeah, we were teenagers. This was high school. Okay.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all went to the same freaking high school. So it's not like I didn't know who she was. It's not like she didn't know who I was. We all knew each other. But it was always just like, I think she had an idea that me and
She
him were
wanted to
talking.
throw bows. She wanted
Yeah.
to get down and throw
But here's
down.
the thing. He would always tell me that like him and her were done and that they're taking a break. He's trying to break it off. Like they're gonna be over soon. And it was like promise after promise after promise, like soon. We're gonna be together soon. Like, all that bullshit.
High school stuff.
High school stuff, basically, yeah. This went on for a while. Like
I'm sorry. That
couple,
sucks.
maybe a summer or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually I had done a little love spell. I had a little heart-shaped box, like a little one of those cardboard boxes.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I had like one of those like little, remember those like mini, I'm talking very small Polaroid pictures.
Mm-hmm.
There was like
Yeah,
those
the
little
like 2x2x1s.
Yeah, they
little
were very
ones.
tiny. There was a picture of like me and him, right? And I put that in this box. along with some other stuff. I don't even remember what I put in there, but I think I wrote a letter. I think I wrote something like to him or a spell on there, maybe an incantation, maybe some kind of like spell. Folded it up. I put in the box with the picture. Then I think I tied it with twine. I don't remember if like I did it a certain amount of times. And then on the very top, I sealed it with red candle wax and flowers or maybe baby's breath or roses or something. I don't remember.
So not spit and urine.
Not
and
spit. No, I did not go that far.
Okay.
Not trashing anybody who incorporates that into their magic, because that's perfectly like people do that.
It works. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If it works, it works. But like I didn't do that at like what 17, 18 years old. And then like I inscribed something on the bottom of the box and then I hid it away. Okay. I had this box like hidden away in my closet for a really long time. Okay. So basically, I think that the essence of the letter, like I wanted to like bind him to me or like have him, like I wanted us to be together, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, you're teenagers, shit happens. Half the people you talk to in high school, you don't end up talking to anymore. Like people grow apart. By the end of like, I don't know, maybe that last summer that I was in high school, I was started dating somebody else. And then this other guy caught wind.
Of course he did.
And he was like kind of up my ass. And now all of a
I
sudden,
can still recall.
yeah. Now it's like, woe is me. Like I regret not going out with you. Blah 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 blah.
Fuck
blah,
this
blah.
guy.
Exactly. But it's so funny because so I dated this other guy and then we dated for like a year and then me and him broke up. And then this dude came back around, right? Like he somehow knew that me and this other dude broke up. So then me and this other dude that broke up, I started dating somebody else after that. We dated for like 2-3 years. When I broke up with that dude, this guy came back around. Like he just kept popping up.
You can't always get what you want.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And like, completely forgetting that I did this little love spell.
You gotta get rid of that box.
No, I did. I ended up getting rid of it eventually. I think I burned all the stuff inside. I might have actually even burned the actual box. I don't remember. But yeah, I eventually did get rid of it. And I haven't heard from him since.
Oh my
I'm pulling
goodness.
a Jillian and I haven't heard. Oh no, wait. Is that Jillian that says it? And I haven't heard from him since.
Yep. I left him because he hit me, and we haven't seen him since.
So that's my stupid
Full
story.
circle.
That's
I
my
cannot
stupid
believe
story, guys.
how much new stuff I have learned in the origins of like love potions and spells in this single episode plus Latin, but like and Saint Valentine. Oh, I did not know. I know people use like their bodily fluids for magic. I've known that, but not
to the extent
rubbing your body with dough to make a cake or whatever that is, and the sweat. Every orifice has to be rubbed down with that dough. Orifice.
Sweat love magic. I feel like that's like a Justin Timberlake album.
Yeah, Isn't there a Red Hot Chili Peppers?
I don't know.
Wait,
what was that Justin Timberlake album? Future Sex Love Sounds? Is that the name of the Justin Timberlake
Future Sex Love Sounds?
Something like that. Am I thinking of something else? Justin Timberlake Future. Yeah.
Blood Sugar Sex Magic is what I was thinking of.
Well, Justin Timberlake has an album called Future Sex Love Sounds.
Oh.
Yeah, it was I think it was produced by either Timbaland or Pharrell or both.
Okay. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it was out in like the early 2000s.
Shit. What are your thoughts on this episode?
This episode?
Yeah.
Very informative. Yeah, we learned a lot. We looked up some words we never even heard of before.
If you could tell younger Justina about love, what would you tell her?
Oh God.
Now as a grown woman.
Let him pick up his own laundry. I don't fucking know. I don't know if I'm like a good person to ask about love advice. That it's more of a practical thing. You can't look at it as like the movies, like Prince Charming, whatever. Like, I feel like it's a way more practical thing now as an adult than
right. But there's no advice you would give yourself. I would tell myself, save your money. Don't spend it on any boy, because that's like my love language is gift giving.
Don't give up your voice.
Boys. Don't give up your voice. Don't change yourself, because I turn into a chameleon. Sometimes when I'm with dudes, and that's no bueno. So that's definitely don't lose yourself.
100%. Yeah. I think that's really pretty good advice.
So Justina has a little book, which we mentioned earlier, about love spells. And could you tell us again who it is by?
This is called Love Spells, How to Work Your Mojo. This is by Deborah Keller, illustrated by Lisa Parrott. And it's this like tiny little pocket edition. It's like
Yes.
love spells on the go. If you
Yeah.
need a quick little love spell, this is what you can use. This is just like little tidbits. They're just like very short and sweet pages. So I'll just read some stuff that I found interesting. I thought this was really cute. Oh, well, there's a color chart, I guess, for like candle colors or whatever you want to use candles for.
All right.
There is an inner strength spell.
Is there a self-love spell?
Let's see. I don't know if there's like a
I would
table
love
of contents
to do
on
something
here,
like that.
so I can fast forward to something like that. Symbols of love, string instruments to hear your own heart's desires, an arrow to send love's message to someone else, oak to secure eternal love, knot for a faithful bond, a key to unlock the secrets of another's heart, and look, the apple. Yeah.
My
Those are
goodness,
just some
hand in
symbols.
hand this month.
Yeah. Also with a bell to attract the attention of others. Clarity spell. There's a mythical mandrake. The mandrake root is one of the earliest known aphrodisiacs, although we know it's lethal. So we've talked about the mandrake earlier. Let's see. We have love be eternally young spell. Oh, okay, now this says black magic. When it comes to love, black is more than sexy. It's the color of positive outlook. Surround yourself with black before a first date to increase the odds of a second one. Linger in a bathtub illuminated by black candles. Wrap yourself in a black robe, then slip on little black undergarments only you know is there. So it's
That
like
sounds luxurious as hell.
Yeah, that sounds like some Samantha Jones shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
No, not. I hope this isn't like too much of like personal. I only buy like black underwear and black socks because if you have all black socks in a drawer, you never have to pair them up. You just pull
True.
out. They're all the same.
That's
They're
true.
all the same.
I have mismatched fuzzy socks. That's just how I roll.
I do have those too, but yeah.
All right, so this says everyone knows love letters should always be written in ink and only mailed on Friday. That's the day associated with Venus, the ancient goddess of love.
And Freya.
Freya's dead. There's a sexuality spell. It says there's this one that says don't try this at home. It says Albertus Magnus. Didn't we talk about him earlier?
I think we did.
The great medieval wizard is considered by many to be the father of alchemy, the art of turning lead into gold, but he's also known for his romantic side. The legendary Magnus created a number of love potions. Here's one of his most potent concoctions. Are you ready for this? I wonder if anybody actually has these on hand. 200 ants, okay? 200, not more than that. Not 201. It's got to be 200. 1 gallon of wine, 200 wood lice, 250 bees.
Hey, remember when we learned about wood lice in the Death Watch Beetle episode? There's like book louse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's much fun.
And the last ingredient is cinnamon. So out of that whole list, I only have the wine and the cinnamon. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You have a gallon of wine?
You mean you don't have 250 bees just sitting in your pantry?
You just got Carlo Rossi in your closet.
So it says mix the ants and wine in a glass jug, seal, let stand for a month. Add the lice and let stand for another month. Add the bees and let stand for a third month. Add cinnamon to taste and serve.
Serve on what?
They just give you that recipe like it's completely normal to just drink lice and bees and ants.
I am pretty sure we did mention this bloke earlier in the show.
Yeah, we definitely did.
That's crazy.
This says, everyone knows bananas are the fruit of male fertility, but not because of their phallic shape. Eating 3 bananas at a time is said to increase a man's sperm count.
God damn.
Yeah. There's a don't let it end spell, the language of flowers spell. Okay, so there's different flowers say different things about, their different love languages. Apple blossoms say, I think you are beautiful. The bellflower says, meet me in the morning. A cherry blossom says, I hope our friendship blossoms into something more. And an evening primrose says, I adore you. A foxglove says, you are too shallow for me.
Oh, dang.
Gladiolas say, I'm upset by what you said. Honeysuckles say, please marry me. Jonquils say, please tell me how you feel. A loose strife. Have you ever heard of a loose strife?
I have not.
It says, I'm sorry. Mistletoe means 1,000 kisses. Obviously, we know that whole spiel on Christmas time. Passion flower says, my heart belongs to someone else. Snowdrops say, can we try again? A trumpet flower says, I want you passionately. Let's see what else we got. I have a cat's tail in my face. Oh, there's a gossip ending spell.
Well, lilac, I only know what lilac means because it's my favorite, but lilac you would send to the person you're like, I'm not really that interested, and you're like trying to let them down. It's like,
Okay.
you're not for me. And we learned in the Belladonna episode that Belladonna is but a primrose with a curse set upon it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Yes. There's a love at first sight charm, love stones and metals, silver to enhance understanding and illuminate love from within, copper to attract romance and increase sexuality, amethyst to fortify existing love, coral to attract new love, rose quartz to heal love's wounds, emeralds to ensure honesty, jade to enhance inner beauty and attract erotic love, lapis lazuli to strengthen spiritual love, lodestone to strengthen the power of any love spell, malachite to deepen one's ability to love, moonstone to attract passionate love, sapphire to ensure fidelity and strengthen commitment. And that's the last one in the crystals.
Cute.
There's a little section on wishbone magic. It says, breaking a wishbone is fine for most wishes, but not when it comes to love. If your wish is for a new lover, don't let that bone break. Instead, hold it in your left hand while envisioning the partner of your dreams. Then, mail the bone over your front door to invite him or her into your life. There's this section on the poetry of love. Those intimate with William Butler Yeats. No, he created more than poetry. He also created love potions. His best-known potion is said to be infallible. The powdered liver of a black cat steeped in tea and poured from a black teapot. I've never heard of that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I like
never-
Yeats.
Yeah. Everyone knows on Valentine's night, if you want to dream of a future lover, sleep with 2 laurel leaves under your pillow. So I guess that's bay, like bay laurel, right? Bay leaves.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Passion on the streets. Ancient Romans knew where to find love on the streets. No, it's not what you think. Lovelorn Romans could buy ready-made love potions from kindly old ladies who sold their wares on the street. Their ingredients were less than appealing. Pigeon blood, hairs from wolves' tails, colt scalps, granulated snake skeletons, and the powdered bones of toads whose carcasses had been picked clean by ants, to name a few.
You know that line in the Disney Hercules? The guy, like, he looks like he's a flasher. He, like, rips open his trench coat, but he's like, anybody want to buy a sundial? It amazes me how fucking often I reference this movie.
You do.
Why?
You really do.
Why?
Okay, me and you both have homework, so I have to watch Hercules and you have to watch Mean Girls.
Okay. Fine.
All right, so love is in the air. Sometimes love really is in the air. Perfumed oils have been used since ancient times to attract, enchant, or keep lovers. A few drops of oil added to a bath, a stick of incense, or a scented candle can all have irresistible power. To attract pure love, use honeysuckle, jasmine, lavender, or rose. To arouse sexual desire, use musk, vanilla, or violet. To ensure fidelity, use magnolia. Magnolia tree!
Magnolia.
To attract a spouse, use apple or orange blossoms. Have you ever smelled an orange blossom?
I don't think so.
I have them in my backyard. They bloom. Well, it's a mock orange blossom, so there's no fruit on the bush. It's just blooms. But oh my God, in the summertime, it smells amazing. Like
Nice.
it's so sweet in my yard. And we
Nice.
have we don't have a fence. That's basically our fence, like a big orange blossom
Have you
bush.
ever picked them and
Besides
like
me
dried them?
Yeah, I think I might have thrown them out because they were getting crunchy and they were falling off the
Did they have any smell when you dried them?
Not really. No,
Okay.
they smell the best when they're fresh.
Okay. Wait, Odin incoming. Hang on. Come on.
We have a peace spell. We have a chocolate. Okay, you said you don't have a sweet tooth, right?
No.
But for those of you guys who do, I know I do. I cannot survive a period without a chocolate. So, chocolate spell. Modern scientists have discovered what Casanovas have known for centuries, that a chemical in chocolate arouses feelings of love. Duh. But what they don't know yet is that chocolate charged with this simple love spell can be even more potent. All you do is, I guess you chant over your chocolate and you say, may these chocolates dark and sweet fill your heart with desire for me.
Bro, we didn't even mention the movie Chocolat with
No,
Johnny
we did
Depp.
not. Oh my God. How do we
I
skip
love that movie.
Dude, Johnny Depp was even in my MASH. How do we skip
I know.
that movie?
I don't know. But her, the woman blows into town with her daughter and brings the cocoa, like Aztec recipes and helps people. I don't think she helps anybody fall in love. She just encourages companionship and like friendship, right? I think there's only the older man. Do you remember the older man with the dog who really likes the widow? The woman who's been a widow for like 30 some years.
Yeah.
And I think she gives him like the courage to talk to her.
Yeah.
I think that's something like that. But
her whole aura just like rolls over this town, and the whole town just becomes entranced and encapsulated by this chocolate shop and all of these delicious morsels that she's churning out. And it's just like, it's such a cozy, quaint
I love that movie.
Little movie. I love it.
She opens a chocolaterie during Lent.
That's right.
Yes.
How dare her?
How dare she? What is he? He's called he's not a reverend.
No.
What the hell they call him? The Comte de Renan.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, Juliette Binoche, and Alfred Molina.
Yep.
Judi Dench.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was Judi Dench in that movie.
And the little girl and her little Pantouf, the kangaroo. Peter Stormare, back to back. Great cast. But anyway, magic, love, lust. Actually, there is a little chocolate she gives that has like a cayenne something or other, and she gives it to one of the patrons that comes in. The wife never eats it. She puts it on the counter, she looks at it, and then she throws it away, but she misses the garbage can. And her husband finds it, eats the whole bag, and then sees his wife's backside as she's like scrubbing the shower, and he's like,
it turns him on, right? Yeah.
It turns him on.
Yeah, I remember that.
Love potions. I can't believe that wasn't listed.
How do we forget about that one? All right.
I mean, we didn't, but how did the internet forget about that?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you thought of it. So now we talked about it. I'm glad we talked about it. I love that.
Glad we had this talk.
And now I'm gonna go watch it now.
It's such a feel-good movie.
It is. It's one of my favorite ones. So cinnamon and spice and everything. Does this say mice or nice?
Maybe I would hope it says nice.
I'm like, mice? I think it says nice. Okay, so it says, according to ancient love lore, cinnamon is bursting with male sexuality, and nutmeg is decidedly female. For a night of intense lovemaking, try mixing the two spices in equal amounts, then dissolve them in a mug of hot chocolate for the two of you to share, of course. And it says, if shoelaces come undone, a future lover is thinking about you. There are some moon magic things in here. Before you cast a love spell, be sure to look at the moon. And we talked a little bit about this earlier, right, with Sally and the moon. It's a celestial guide to the energy of love. Spells that banish people or unwelcome feelings should be cast during the moon's waning phase. The waxing phase is best for spells that attract or fortify love. A full moon makes any spell all the more powerful, and the moonless sky means you should take the night off.
All right.
Yeah. There's an oops, I changed my mind spell.
Oh God.
So basically, on a white piece of paper, write the person's name followed by the words no more. Then core an apple, tuck the paper inside, and bury it. As the apple withers, so will his or her interest in you.
That's all Rebecca had to do. God damn it.
Right? Yeah. There's a comeback spell. There's a red hot love spell. There's I saw a thing about a unicorn in here before. Hold on, let me find it again. I was like, what is that? Okay, so it says, it was common belief in medieval times that one of the most powerful aphrodisiacs was a pinch of ground unicorn horn dissolved in a goblet of red wine.
It's the wine, man.
Yeah, but where does one get a horn of a unicorn? You gotta look under the apple tree, right? They sit under the apple tree.
Yep.
Yeah. Because this isn't creepy. The heading says, because you never know. Next time you run your hands through his or her hair and accidentally pull out some loose strands, save them. You never know how the relationship will unfold. And those strands might be just what you need for a spell that calls for a lock of hair.
Dang.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that was I read a lot of the book. It also says that purple, not just red, but purple flowers are used in more love spells than any other color. The more purple flowers that you have on hand, the better stocked your magic pantry will be. I never heard of that before. Have you?
I have not, but my eyes are doing that thing where they start getting real watery.
All right. I think that's all we got for today. Oh, sorry. That was a real emergency.
I couldn't hear anything he said.
Oh, he just barged into my room, jacked the nachos, stared me down, and left.
Bless.
He was like,
and
how dare you?
That is flirting in your 30s, everyone. We got socials for you, for sure.
Yeah, check us out on the Patreon, patreon.com/Magnolia Street Podcast. For the $1 tier, you can get in on all of our polls, help us decide what we want to talk about on the next episode or one of the upcoming episodes. On tier 3, we have show notes, not just today's, but all the other episodes that we have up to date thus far. Also, we have the after hours posts, just some little extra tidbits and anecdotes about the making of each episode, if we have anything extra to say after our episode airs. Then for our $5 tier, you could join our private Facebook community and our Discord. We have a book club. We do a live once a month for our patrons and just get to chit chat and get to know each and every one of you on a little more of a personal level. So that one's a lot of fun. And then on our $8 tier, we have extra bonus content, audiovisual content, and that's also where we will put all of our song-episodes and anything related to any of the music that we showcase on these episodes.
Yes, ma'am. You also get a shout out. You also get a calendar that shows what will be coming up. And like Justina said, you get to have a say on what we talk about. So once a month, we give you a couple options and you pick from those options. But you get to see what's going on, any notes we have for that month, any lives, you're the first to know.
Absolutely. And don't forget to follow us on the Instagram at Magnolia Street Podcast. That's where we post daily, day to day. So if you want to be in the know about anything more so in real time than these episodes, because these episodes come out like 3 weeks after we record them. So it's kind of hard for us to keep you current with what's going on these actual episodes. But if you want to know what's going on in real time and more currently, hit us up on our Instagram and check out what we have mostly in our stories. And we try to post as often as we can to our feed as well. So we try to keep things current.
Absolutely. And Miss Alice Hoffman is over there following us too. But if you got any fan fiction, any stories, anything that pertains to practical magic that you'd like to share with us, you can send that on over to magnoliastreetpodcast@gmail.com. We also have a TikTok where you can see all of our clips for the show. If you're not into Instagram, we're on TikTok at Magnolia Street. We also have a Goodreads where we're trying to list all of our books, our sources, all the books Alice Hoffman talks about, and any upcoming reading we're going to do. And Justina started a practical magic inspired Spotify list where you can also find, and if you want any of these links, they're going to be in the show notes. They're going to be in our Koji on our Instagram. So if you can't find something, shout it out to us. We'll help you find it.
Yeah, man. And don't forget to leave us a review, and whether it's just a star rating or a written review, written reviews will really help bump us up in the algorithm so more practical magic fans just like you can find our podcast and join the party, because we want it to be one big happy party. And also, the more written reviews we get, the more song-episodes we'll give you guys. So incentive.
That's right.
Is that everything we got for today?
That's a lot of love. That's a hunk of burning love we just laid out.
Yeah, man. We have a lot of love to give.
And it's perfect because I think we can all agree, like, fall in love whenever you can. And I love that Alice made that the last line, because I always took that as whether that's platonic love, or love of a hobby, like love of a new venture, just fall in love whenever you can.
I love
Am I
that.
right?
Yeah. Did you know that quote, that end quote, was like the last line of our wedding, mine and Avi's wedding ceremony?
Was it? That's sweet.
Yeah. And we walked down the aisle to the Amas Veritas theme.
Stop.
Yeah. With live harpist and celloist.
Shut up.
It was magical.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. But that was my little nod, homage to the best movie ever made. It's amazing.
I hope Alice hears this and she knows that. That's really sweet.
Me too.
But thank you guys for hanging out with us over on Magnolia Street. I am Christina.
I'm Justina, and we'll see you next time.
At that house down the street, at that house on Magnolia Street, would you go down to Magnolia Street where the wisteria grow out? And the house of magic and mystery, so would you go down to Magnolia Street?
I'm having a bojel. Did you get your toast?
Nah, I don't feel like making toast.
You must have breakfast.